Hello and welcome to the MinnMax Show. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by
Suriel Vasquez.
Jeff.
Cal.
Welcome, everybody. We have a lot to cover. What an exciting time. You know what I'd argue? I'd argue the MinnMax Show is a good place to forget bad things.
Yes.
Great. Love it.
That's our new motto.
Love it. We are going to talk about Call of Duty Warzone, the new free-to-play standalone Call of Duty game. Has everybody played it at this point?
Yeah.
Big time.
Big time.
Together.
Great. Yeah, I guess we played it on that stream. Great Cody Hunt
And
yesterday.
the download took like 1,000 years yesterday. I don't know what's going on with that.
Great.
I don't like that.
And then we're going to talk about Ori and the Will of the Wisps a little bit. New game out this week. Very exciting. Half-Life Black Mesa, the remake of the first Half-Life game. We're going to cover that in exhaustive detail. Ghost of Tsushima. There's a new story trailer. Talk about that. Other things here and there. Then we have a very, very special guest joining us. But unfortunately, that guest needs to kick one of you out. Who's it going to be? Let's find out halfway through the show. And then we're going to talk about the juggernaut in the industry. I mean, the news story of the year in my mind that E3 is canceled because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. Is canceled this year. Might be a rough road back to reality overall for E3. So let's dive into it. We'll get an expert's opinion. We're talking about The Last of Us show on HBO, that announcement, 2K, a ton of fun stuff. And then back after the show, community questions as we open up the min box. A lot of great stuff there. This is an exciting week for us. Some things are changing. You might have noticed. Things are evolving.
Your face, for one.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's true. If you missed that MinnFax, our weekly Q&A stream, during that, when we revealed the new logo and the new merch for MinnMax, which you can find at minnmax.com/merch. 2 N's somewhere in there. But the new logo reveal, and then along with that, a new show reveal. A lot of other stuff we'll get into later. But then I shaved my beard off in a very wacky way for people watching or listening to MinnFax, which is our Patreon exclusive
you did it live?
podcast. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And I only did
So
it.
people could pay right now to watch you shave.
Yeah, and I cut it into a silly cowboy shape and then impersonated Arthur Morgan for a while. So if that's your cup of tea, we're here to help you. But the reason I did is like, it'll be fun. It's fun to like dramatically change your face every once in a while in a good way.
And when you cut the rest off, did you say I'm going to finish Red Dead 2?
That's right.
And you cut the rest of it off?
But anyways, I was like, it'll be fun. And plus, like, I've had a beard for like 2-3 years, maybe something like that. And my girlfriend was like, I think I prefer like a clean shaven face. Remember she said that a long time ago. And she's like, this'll freak her out. 'Cause she was complaining a lot about the big gnarly beard. And so I shaved it all off and then surprised her, went over to her place, and she didn't know it was coming.
Put it back.
She goes, weird, and then tears. Not a fan. Because she's like, this is not the person I love. This is too weird.
And then she did the Laura Palmer scream at the end of Twin Peaks.
Exactly. It was very sad.
So she cried when she saw your actual face.
Tears were rolling.
Boy.
It was very rough. So I hope you like it.
Do you think you'll grow it back a little bit?
Oh, I'm actually pulling on each individual hair to try and pull that out of my face
Squeezing as
quicker.
hard as he can.
That's right. But hey, new logo. Thank you to Jeff Wiggins, who's a graphic designer who's been working on that for months now. And so new logo, new YouTube thumbnails, a whole visual overhaul. He's been amazing for setting up like a whole visual guide for MinnMax. And so he was recommended by a couple fantastic people. And then like you might know his work from the IGN YouTube thumbnails, which at this point have to have been seen by 30 billion people. They're just everywhere. And so it's like, man, that guy's work is getting around. And so it's very nice. It's wonderful to work with. If you have any questions about the logo, please direct it his way on Twitter. Jeff Wiggins, that guy.
Do not tag Yozeti.
That's right. But we have a lot of fun announcements. First up, we have a music podcast, part of the podcast network now, called MinnTrax, MinnTrax, hosted by Matt Helgeson, former host of the Game Informer show. You can find that in a separate standalone audio feed. It's not going to be a video podcast. It's just going to be audio just because YouTube will nuke us from orbit. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good way of looking at it. Other announcements this week, we announced what we're calling the celebration of Final Fantasy VII. I always want to say compilation. There's a play off that. This is the celebration of Final Fantasy VII, where we're actually playing through all of Dirge of Cerberus on the PlayStation 2, that Vincent Valentine game, making a commentary track, which is going to be Patreon only for Advent children. We're going to stream all of Midgar, and then that'll culminate with the deepest dive for the Final Fantasy VII remake, which we're only a month away from, folks.
Crazy.
Pretty wild. Let's see. More setting the table. GDC is not happening. But I'm still going out to San Francisco next week to make some content for you all. I'm going to be guesting on some podcasts, it looks like, if they all don't get canceled from the coronavirus. And so also I'm planning a community meetup for MinnMax folks. It's going to be Zeitgeist on Thursday, March 19th at 7 p.m. There's a bar called Zeitgeist in San Francisco, and I'll be there. I understand with the virus, if you don't want to leave your home, totally get it. If I'm just sitting there drinking a beer by myself, zero hard feelings. But if you're in the area and you feel adventurous, you can meet me at Zeitgeist Thursday at 7 p.m. next week. That'll be fun. And Jeffem will take a bunch of pictures and send them back to you.
Perfect.
And vice versa. Great. Also, the fun doesn't stop here. This is going to keep rolling because here's an announcement. The next Deepest Dive. Well, we just announced it. It's a Final Fantasy VII remake. Hell no, it's not. We can do more. So we're going to have a shorter Deepest Dive, which I understand is an oxymoron or something. But we're going to have a shorter, systems-focused Deepest Dive, 2 episodes for Animal Crossing New Horizons, which comes out next week, next Friday. I'm very excited about it. No one else at this table is very excited about it, but we have a backup crew of Animal Crossing experts, which I am very excited. It is like the Avengers hive mind of Animal Crossing expertise.
You got Chris Evans?
That's right, baby.
I mean,
so,
Captain Marvel, she's like really into Animal Crossing, right? I forget.
The
what her
actress,
name
Brie
is.
Larson?
Yeah.
Oh,
Brie Larson.
really?
Yeah, she's really into Animal Crossing.
I remember she like dressed up as Samus that one time for Halloween or something. That was very cool to see. Anyways, so yes, this is going to be airing on March 25th and April 1st. If you're not familiar with it, we're trying to make the Deepest Dive the best, most thorough discussion about a game on the internet. So we're going to be taking comments from the community about just your time playing Animal Crossing. Because there's no real story, it's not like you have to get up to a certain point. It's just, hey, in the first couple days when you're playing it, if you're a Patreon supporter, you can leave a piece of feedback and then we'll read it on air and just have a nice big chat about Animal Crossing. That'll be 2 episodes. I think it'd be kind of fun to also check in again like 6 months down the road.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, so it's kind of a loosey-goosey one. But Animal Crossing New Horizons, Deepest Dive. Thank you for supporting us so we can make this happen. Okay, let's actually talk about some stuff. Call of Duty Warzone. Jeffem,
Yeah,
you liked Modern Warfare.
I did.
And you're a little bit of a Battle Royale guy.
A little bit. I bounce off them pretty quick when
Yeah.
I start playing them. So
Well, how's Warzone treating you?
good so far. I haven't bounced off it yet
Okay.
after one night.
It's a good sign.
But yeah, I think it's probably my favorite battle royale so far.
Really?
Yeah.
What about it? What stands out?
I think I have just been waiting for a more grounded, polished version of battle royale. Obviously, I mean, Epic makes a very polished game with Fortnite. Not saying that they don't, but I could never get into the building aspect of Fortnite. So
Well, sure.
I just kind of wanted the large scale. I've always been a Battlefield guy. I wanted that kind of experience as a battle royale. Obviously, they've already done it with Black Ops 4.
Well, yeah.
But something about this one works a little better for me.
Really? What do you have any specifics, or just you tried Blackout? and were
I
like,
think
meh?
it might just be. I understand all the systems better at this point. I didn't get into. Was it also just called Warzone for Black Ops 4?
Well, it's interesting. So it was called Blackout, but the interesting bit of history, we have a video on our YouTube channel kind of chronicling this, which I don't think other people are really talking about. But if you piece things together, Blackout was originally, the working title was Warzone, and then Activision would not let them call it Warzone, even though Treyarch wanted to call Blackout Warzone. And now something must have changed after that year and a half, where now maybe they got it worked its way through legal. Maybe the Halo developers were like, okay, you can use it after all, or something.
Do you think that maybe it was because Blackout fits more with the Blackout name, with the Black Ops name, and they were like, well, then we can use Warzone for the next one?
Maybe.
And maybe
That's
they already had
interesting.
that plan in place.
Yeah, and maybe that's why Von der Haar was a little bit pissy about it. It's like, well, we want the good name. And that's a huge discussion too, is just the state of Blackout. It's such, like, years from now, it's going to be just this weird anomaly. I wouldn't be surprised if they shut it down after a while, but like, I love Blackout so much. I had such a good time with it when it came out. And so now it's just like, it feels just like a trial run, like a weird stepping stone from getting from PUBG, which Blackout's very clearly inspired by, and then, okay, here's Blackout, and now here's Warzone, which is evolving things even further. And now Blackout's left to die on the vine.
And to do it as what you would have to believe was the original intent all along to do it as its own kind of standalone free-to-play service thing that's going to go on presumably forever.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. And the other thing I think probably that's swaying me most is I like the gulag system of just you die, and then after you die, you get that one chance to do a 1v1 fight, and if you win that, then you get to come back in.
Right, which... Yeah, it's weird because it's taking what I think was the highlight of multiplayer for me, at least for Modern Warfare, of just gunfight. I thought it was a super fun mode, just the 2v2 mode, and it's like even using one of those maps, it's like, okay, one-on-one, here we go. And it softens the pain of losing, which I kind of have mixed emotions on. Even like as Blackout went on and there are ways to get back in the match with like special events and stuff, I'm like, I kind of like the you're down, you're out, here we go. I guess for me, it doesn't diminish that. Like, I'm still on the edge of my seat, and I jump every time I hear a gunshot as I'm playing through, the larger fight. It's just that you also just get that extra second chance, which is also super tense too, because you know that you only have one shot at that as well. And thematically, the way that they tie it into the world, I mean, it makes no sense that you're somehow getting captured after you've gotten shot in the head. That stupid cutscene of you being dragged in there over and over again.
Which you can skip at least.
Yeah.
But it is nice that the idea that you're brought to this place, and when you get there, if there's a queue already, you're up kind of in the like the rafters, rafters section with the other person that you're probably going to fight, and you watch a fight go on below you, which are the actual two people fighting to get out, and then they kick you down in there as the next group of people are watching you, and that's just an interesting and fun way to kind of sell that.
Yeah. Throw the little rocks at them as they're fighting down there and stuff.
And I also like it as an addition because right now they only have squad teams, which is my biggest complaint, that they don't just have a strictly solo queue for it. Yeah,
so it's a trio. It's very Apex Legends out of the gate.
Which you can choose to go solo, but then you're just going up against groups anyway.
Right.
But I like what the gulag adds to that as well, where once your teammates are out, you still have that chance that, okay, they're going to come back and they're going to help me more. And even if they lose, you can still buy their way out if you save up enough money and kind of buy a thing, which sounded like it was going to be very complicated when all the leaks were coming out. It sounded like its own whole system with missions and stuff, but really you just have to find, there are a ton of different cash out places basically where you can buy different weapons and stuff, and it's just one of the options in there.
Cool buy stations. Kyle, what do you think about that? Because I know you're the world's #1 fan of Radical Heights, the Battle Royale, which it seemed like was the big push for, hey, now you can buy things on the map. Even though it didn't make a huge impact when the game was released, it's still like, oh, there was one cool idea that then gets absorbed into the collective Battle Royale hive mind.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Call of Duty that I always struggled with is like finding weapons that I really grow attached to, because there's so many, So at this like early stage, like I haven't, because like ideally after I play more and more, I'll be like, all right, I really love this gun, I'm comfortable with this gun, and then I'll be able to know to like buy it. Like I'm not there yet, but I like that option exists, And I'm with Jeff. I really like the gulag. I like being able to get back into it, because the thing that always is frustrating with any other battle royale is like, you'll have your good runs, but then you also have that occasional, more than occasional, with me probably a crappy run where it's like I was out like in the first 5 minutes, and it's like I went through all this trouble of like getting in the queue, and it's going to take forever to get back into the game. But here at least you're still engaged in the combat, and like you're still playing, and there's that, and then there's like that fun excitement if you do get to go back in, So I'm enjoying it a lot too. Like it feels like a prettier Blackout with all these kind of new additions and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's weird how like with the buy stations you can buy your loadout that's pulling from Modern Warfare. So you can like pull from your saved loadouts, which I think is a good system for like, okay, we're still rewarding people that have played a lot of Modern Warfare and have their loadout set. You can kind of incorporate it. And if not, you can still build it up just manually. Yeah,
and all the weapon blueprints that you're unlocking like throughout the seasons and the different missions and stuff, those are going into kind of the loadout that you can build individually and also customize your perks and stuff. And you can it is kind of a weird system. You can tell that it was the kind of situation where it's like, well, loadouts are a thing in Modern Warfare. How are we going to get them into this multiplayer mode as well? But you can also get them from crates that just randomly, float down from the sky. And I have found enough use out of that where it's like, okay, I can create this really custom loadout with the guns that I actually have learned to like and modified them how I want them. It's just I'm not always going to get them, you know.
Right. And like it's weird thinking about.
But when you have that opportunity, then it's like, oh, you know, it landed 100 meters over there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth running out there? Because obviously other people are going to be running over there too. So it's that kind of risk reward situation too.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like how they're kind of streamlining the gun system, weapon system, item system overall. Like, okay, don't worry about attachments, none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna have weapons here. They're also floating a little bit off the ground, so they can be seen a little bit easier, you know. And so it's like, okay, it's interesting to see how they're evolving some of the ideas. And even like I was playing for a while, then I realized, oh yeah, like inventory management isn't really a thing. And like Blackout, that was a big learning curve as they kept iterating the inventory system to try and make it snappier and snappier. And now it's just, you hold down on the D-pad, you can see your ammo, don't worry about it, let's go.
Yeah,
You drop
it's just,
some for friends and stuff like that.
yeah, it's just taking out some more of that Arma history through PUBG, through Blackout. You know, it's like let's go cleaner. Let's go cleaner.
Which is also why it's one of my favorites. You never get stuck in a menu. You kind of have your armor pullouts, which is a nice addition to it. I appreciate having those. And then otherwise, whenever someone explodes and weapons fly everywhere, you're basically just picking, you know, the best the rarest color ones out of it and tailoring it to whatever type of weapon that you want. And you can just kind of on the fly figure out, well, this gun is probably going to be better for me based on that.
Surreal, do you have any just mind-shattering thoughts on the map?
I like that the TV station from Modern Warfare is in it.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And also, you know it's a TV station because the cool thing is they put the hovering text as you're dropping, which I was like, oh,
I adore
that's
that.
so
That is
smart.
so cool.
That's
so
fun.
fun.
Because then you can immediately say, and all of you can go. It is weird that they don't have like the Jump Master stuff from Apex.
To
'cause
bundle
you're-
everybody together.
Right, yeah. But other than that, it feels like they're learning from pretty much every other Battle Royale game out there.
Yeah, Activision is a learning computer, I think, is what we're learning from this. Yeah. The map overall, I mean, I'm excited about this. It's tricky to go from Blackout to this and just be like, because I'm such a stubborn, stupid gamer. You know, so in my heart, it's like, well, I don't know these weapons now, and I don't like the map as much.
Where's the basketball court?
Yeah, exactly. But like being so attached to that Blackout map, it's like, well, I kind of miss the water. I feel like everything is just so samey without like water dividing things up. You know?
There's definitely no water.
Well,
We
it's
found a frozen river.
Yeah, so
Okay.
maybe with the season it'll change, but even then it's not nearly as big of a factor as it was in Blackout. And it seems like I like the more rural environments in my battle royales too, so that's a little bit more fewer and farther between and stuff in this game, but it's still there. It's nice, like, okay, I can find my drop if I want a more like a less, you know, city environment here. Yeah.
Did you guys run into like? I mean, I think we all had problems downloading it like after the stream when we went home.
Just because it's so huge?
No, I think it was like I think the
super
servers
slow
were just
network,
getting like
yeah.
hammered. Like it was just taking forever to download. Did you guys have trouble once you got into matches like after?
No.
Because like when we were playing for the stream, it was not free to play yet. It
Yeah.
was still just for people who own the game. But so you played like I got into one match. It seemed fine. I don't know if you ran into anything.
it was fine, and I also wasn't running into as many texture problems as we were when we did the
that's
stream as
good.
well.
Because I was doing, base PS4. And I guess playing last night, I didn't notice that.
And I think we're
either.
probably
Yeah.
both on Xbox One X. I think.
No, I was doing PS4.
PS4.
Because,
Oh, okay, because that's where you own it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so maybe it's stabilizing a little bit more as it goes
Yeah.
on. Crazy. I mean, I think the leaks were saying 200 people, and now at launch it's 150 people in the map, which I'm still a little bit torn. I don't understand the advantage of having that many people. Like, why not make it 100? No one's complaining about that. Make the rounds shorter. Make your odds of getting to the end and having a huge, exciting match higher for everybody. I don't get the thrill.
It's bragging rights, I guess. Like that back of the box bullet, which
But if it
doesn't really
makes it
exist anymore.
less fun,
I can
like-
see that, but also the length of the matches that I played were right around 30 minutes, and I finished watching the ones that I wasn't in, and so I feel like maybe they're just scaling it based on what they want that number to be. I guess at this point, if it's not hurting from a technical standpoint, then I'm fine with the slightly larger player count.
It's going to be really interesting seeing how this game evolves if they make like a new version for next gen and try and just stabilize a little bit more, or if it's just, well, it's cross-platform and so you can still download the same thing and then it'll just be even more cross-platform, because that's the crazy thing here is, when we streamed it yesterday, we were able to play with the Game Informer folks. There's Dan Tack on a PC, and then Alex, former Game Informer intern, actually playing on an Xbox. That's a fun new era we're in.
And I mean, if they're already throwing in PC players, that's essentially like a next-gen system.
Yeah.
Theoretically. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is like Call of Duty live service at this point, right? I mean, like, this when the next Call of Duty comes out next year, like, they're still going to be supporting this in a big way, probably, right?
Well, so, I mean, according to Kotaku, the rumors are that, like, it's going to be Black Ops 5 for this year. So is there a universe where they like add the Blackout map to Warzone? I think the tech is, even though it's all technically the same engine, every studio's been pulling it and stretching it in a different direction, especially Infinity Ward with the latest entry. And so maybe that'd be more challenging than I could possibly understand, but that'd be a really interesting conclusion if that's what they end up doing.
I could see that. And this is already, they're kind of calling it Season 2, it seems like. Because
that's for the multiplayer.
The first season, was Call of Duty was just the Modern Warfare multiplayer.
Yeah.
And this is kind of tied to the second season. And so I could see it, just kind of still splitting things up as, hey, we're doing different seasons in different years, but this is going to be the free-to-play thing is going to carry on. And it sounds like they want to add different modes and stuff. They have the plunder mode, which we haven't talked about at all
I played it a little bit. It's all about just collecting cash, and you get cash for killing people. I'm not that crazy about it.
It's interesting to me, but the one match that I managed to play on it, they didn't put anyone else in my team, and so it's like you're not gonna do well. Like all of these matches, they need a solo queue that's just strictly solo games, because you're not gonna beat a 3-player squad in the money mode either. But it seems like it's an interesting kind of spin-off of the Battle Royale where you continue to respawn after you die, which is one thing that's different, and you also get to bring in your loadout from the beginning. So your loadout is customizing your loadouts is more important for that mode as well.
Yeah. So I'll call it 1 year from today, and people will cut this clip out and send it to you. What is the legacy of Call of Duty Warzone? Is it just going to be quietly one of those things that's successful? Is it going to be a juggernaut? Where's it at 1 year from now?
That's the one with the gulag, right?
There you go.
I mean, do you think this is going to be a bonanza success for Activision, or just something around the level of an Apex Legends, maybe a little sub Apex Legends?
I would think more than Apex Legends.
I think the fact that it took forever to download is telling. Like the fact there's a free-to-play new Call of Duty game on consoles and PC, and it took forever to download yesterday because everyone was downloading.
Okay, 1 year from now, rank the Battle Royales then, Hotshot, popularity-wise.
Fortnite.
Still number one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Warzone.
Okay.
PUBG. No, Apex and PUBG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. There it is.
And then that magic one, Realm Royale.
Yep. You got it. I like that game. And then Darwin Project.
And then Radical Heights.
And then whatever battle rifle is going to be in Halo 6 or whatever.
Perfect.
Halo Infinite.
I'm excited to keep playing.
Yeah.
There's a lot to understand there and unpack, and I'm curious to see how it evolves more than anything else.
And I'm waiting for the Escape from Tarkov mode.
They're going to add it.
Just rip it off.
I mean, they're 100% going to add that.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, it's going to take like 5 years. How long did it take them
it'll take
to release a free-to-play battle royale after the success of Fortnite?
Yeah.
They'll have to figure out how to do its own weird economy outside of matches for that. But yeah, it seems like the kind of thing where you customize a loadout and then you'll just lose that loadout if you die within one of those matches.
The fact that they're streamlining inventory overall, I think, makes it a little bit trickier. Like, there's no healing items and stuff like that. So, like, when it's all about Escape from Tarkov, just managing that item economy, and all the items are just guns and armor, maybe they could put some hot trinkets out there. Here's a bobblehead of Price.
Maybe the different guns and stuff that you're getting just all gets converted to cash, and then you use the cash to buy different loadout stuff outside of matches or something like that.
Look, we ain't designers. What are we gonna do?
You can figure it out. They've already stolen like 3 great battle royale
look
ideas
at the thing
for this.
that's good and make your thing good like that good thing.
Make it good. Serial, Ori, and the Will of the Wisps.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to play it?
Yeah, I played a couple hours of it.
Okay.
It launched. We didn't get any codes for it, so it launched at 11 p.m. So I played a couple hours.
Did you have to download an update at 11?
No, I
did. I thought I had it preloaded. I had to download 5 gigabyte
But I guess for reviewers, there's like a huge patch because it gets a little bit rough.
So we both played with the day one patch, but I guess without that, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still had a couple hitches when I was playing. I don't know if that's like PC, specific or if it's a general trend, but other than that, it didn't seem like it ran poorly at all.
Man, not only that, it was a game that I booted up and just played the opening of, and it was one of those games that you look at and say, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
Yes.
are you?
So ugly. I can't believe it.
It's like, how is this possible on my screen?
I have owned a 4K TV for like 2 or 3 years now, maybe. This is the first time that I was like, oh, I think this is actually really benefiting from 4K because like the colors are amazing, like light like streaming through trees and stuff like that. I was like, this looks amazing. If this was a 90-minute like animated feature film, I would be like, this is incredible. This is like a new type of animation.
And what type of game is Ori and the Will of the Wisps?
A jumpy.
It's a little backtracker.
2D back scratcher, ladies and gentlemen, please. No, I mean, it's just a Metroidvania, right?
Yeah.
But then with some evolved systems this time around.
They played Hollow Knight, I think.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they iterated on some like minor stuff, so like you don't.
Yeah, I mean, we should mention like you just played Blind Forest,
right?
Like,
I
for
played
the
through
first
Blind
time, right?
Forest a week ago, and then I just now played a little bit of. This feels like they're trying to make it bigger by like you notice like instead of getting a life orb and then immediately getting a life up, you get like a portion of it. So now you have to find 2. So they're kind of like trying to, but for all intents and purposes, it does feel like this game is going to be a lot bigger than the first one. But it feels like they're doing that in terms of collectibles by basically having a lot more contribute to the same things, and there's different upgrade systems. Like you very quickly get like the double jump, and you get like I
was surprised how quickly I got it. I mean, I was happy.
Well,
about
that was a thing in the first game that you don't get until
Okay.
halfway through. So I think they're trying to get you up to speed very quickly on the stuff that they already have. And like now I have like a dash, which I don't think you had like a proper dash in Ori. You had like a kind of like a boost off walls and stuff and a high jump, but in this one you can just straight up air dash or like run across the ground. But I think to me the most surprising thing is how more involved the story is. So the first 2 had like these skippable prologues, and I think I like this one's a little bit better. Like I think they're so good at like making you care. So the central plot line is that after the first game, you and Ori and Naru, I think, or Gomu, I think, are like the 3 characters, and they're taking care of this little owl. And the owl can't fly, and so they look for like a feather from its mother, and they get it to fly. And while they're flying, they sort of crash land on this island.
And the
after
mother
a storm.
was the villain in the
the first one.
Those are the kind of details that I'm fuzzy on because I played it right when it came out.
It's been 5 years since that first game. It's wild.
Okay.
And so it's you as Ori right now. I'm looking for that owl that got lost in the forest, and so that whole prologue I think is a lot more affecting than the first one's was. And then also the story seems a lot more involved throughout, even after that prologue, where you're talking to more characters. There are side quests that you're taking on where someone will tell you like, hey, I'm looking for the fang of this thing.
Yeah. Was there as much dialogue in the first game?
I don't think there was. There's a lot of like you're walking through this thing, and then the narrator voice will say, something, and the words
Don't
will
move
come
from Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Dorman.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Dang, I ruined it.
Will have like the words come on screen and he's very loud or whatever. And so they were trying to have this very minimalist story. But in this one, there are more characters. There are shopkeepers. So like you said, a lot of stuff from that feels lifted from Hollow Knight, but it's also in stuff like Castlevania, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I just get a real Hollow Knight feeling. I think it's just because the way the inventory works, you can equip certain things, and like the way the screen works just feels very Hollow Knight-y.
But hang on, as somebody who hasn't played Hollow Knight beyond the first 30 minutes, like what is it? It's just inventory, equipping things. That's
there's like an
have
upgrade
like 4
system,
slots, but you can find like up to like 30 different upgrades that you can use, and you just have to mix and match.
And they're equipable versus in Ori, you basically got these little upgrade points, like that currency that you're getting gave you upgrade points instead of like being an actual currency, and you use that to evolve like one of 3 trees. In this one, you find these random skills like, instead of sliding off walls, Ori will stick to them. And those are all like interchangeable, equipable bonuses. And even just things like in the first Ori, you attacked by, there was this floating orb that you fired off basically. And in this, you just straight up have a sword.
And it feels really good.
Yeah, it feels a lot better
very
than that
satisfying
other
to
system
swing
where
that thing. Yeah.
you were just kind of moving and the attacks were just kind of happening while you were mashing. Whereas in this, you have like a lot of directional attacks. I've actually used the air attack as a way to boost myself further in the air, where you can jump, do like 3 quick attacks, jump again, and then do 3 quick attacks, and that extends your jump. So like it feels a lot more fun to just move around in that world, and even that first one I thought was like a terrific platformer. So there's a lot of these like minor differences, but I think so far it does feel a lot of like what I wanted out of a sequel. I'm not totally sold on them basically kind of inflating the upgrade economy by saying like we need to put a lot more stuff on this map because it's going from it'll be bigger. So we just need to break things apart and have more things on the map. But there are other things, like there are side quests, and I ran like a time trial race basically where you're racing against the shadow. So those feel a little bit more involved. There's definitely a lot more to do so far, and I like a lot of the platforming stuff. And they're getting through stuff quicker. In Ori 1, there was a lot of poisonous water, and instead of fighting the upgrade late in the game that lowers cleans all that water, you're finding a lot of switches that basically clear that problem out for you. Mm-hmm. So they kind of acknowledge for people who've already played the first game, like we know that you kind of did this stuff already. Let's kind of get through that a little bit more quickly. So I'm excited to see what else they bring to the table in terms of new ideas. Because right now I'm enjoying it, but I don't know, like if it's just like all those same ideas kind of rearranged, I don't know that I'll like it as much. But
yeah, it seemed like, Kyle, you were kind of going against the big talking point with Ori about these games are really hard.
Yeah, I mean, they're challenging for sure, but like it's not a game that I would like put in that tier of like being really hard. And maybe it's because here's the thing about that game. You can wall jump and you unlock a dash. So it's getting close to Mega Man X for me, which is something I'm very like familiar with controlling. So maybe that's why I don't struggle with it as much. I mean, I'm not saying that it's an easy game by any means, but like I think like Guacamelee was like a harder game in some instances and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. Are you struggling with it? I mean,
not yet.
Yeah,
I'm sure I will eventually, but not at this point. Yeah.
It also helps that in the first game you basically had to create your own save points. There was an ability that let you drop like a save point wherever, and if you didn't, you ended up at the last like warp point, which were kind of few and far between. Whereas here it just auto saves all the time. So whenever you die, you're not really that far away from the place where you died. So I think that helps a lot, and it lets them make the challenges a little bit more like, okay, here are a bunch of things where you could instantly die, or you're instantly going to be in a position where you're about to. But if you die, there's not a lot of consequence to it. So
so the game is developed by Moon Studios, which is an interesting studio that's kind of pulling people from all over the world. They don't have a centralized office, so great for this quarantine era. They can keep developing future games. Will be fantastic. Is there a universe where this is the best Microsoft game of the year, though, because they published it?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Reiner of a Game Informer give it a 9.5. Like, this seems like no joke.
I mean, it's doing really
like
well.
It a lot so
far. Really?
Yeah, for sure.
I was actually when you beat those races, it lets you like see your score, and I was like 14,000 or whatever on the leaderboard, and I was kind of surprised by that because it seems like this was like hours after the game came out, so it seems like it's selling pretty well. Or Game Pass is helping it get a player boost. So I wonder what the like how successful they're doing, but it seems like they're off to a really good start.
Well, the crazy thing too, it's on Steam. Super exciting.
Yeah,
it's fun to see. I know I should be used to this at this point, but it's still always exciting to see like, new Microsoft game on Steam day one. That's just awesome.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, you're looking forward to continuing your journey, all that jazz?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't finish it. Honestly, like it's what I want to play right now. I always like. I was up super late last night playing it, which is always like a sign that I am enjoying a game because I need to go to sleep and wake up early. But I was probably to like 2 playing or something like that.
Jeez. Yeah, because there are so many like tiny little things. Like even if they're not significant, you'll find a thing where you'll see a bit of the map that is kind of out of the way, and you're like, oh, I bet like there's like a tree there that feels like it's obscuring something, and okay, here's a little alcove. And it just becomes this weird momentum thing of like, oh, well, let me just do one more of these, or let me just find one more secret or something, and then you just keep going and going, which that game does like really, really well.
Yeah, it's good. They did a good job over there.
Hey, good job, folks.
Good job, Capcom Moon Studios.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Let's see, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Little beat here. Jeff, you just watched that trailer. They released a story trailer, and the release date, which is June 26th, 2020. Kind of the great swan song for PS4. We're getting there. But Sucker Punch, they released a new trailer. What do you think, Jeff?
looks very pretty. And I'm totally on board.
Yeah.
The story trailer doesn't tell much beyond, this is a revenge tale, and this Jin guy's really willing to do whatever it takes to get revenge.
Don't they say more than once in that trailer, you're more than a samurai, I think, don't they? Or something along those lines?
He's a ghost. I think is what they're going for. I think that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
It's like, he's basically the Batman of Tsushima.
Yeah. So I'm excited now. More excited.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I mean,
they kind of play up that, samurais fight in a certain way with honor, and he's like, F honor, I'm doing whatever I need to.
I'm finding some tall grass and hiding in it.
Yeah.
he seems like a stoic main character, which is always like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Seems like they're kind of got a little more personality focus with Delson Rowe and stuff, like Infamous Second Son, and now it's like, okay, this guy just wants revenge. Let's go for it.
I'll take this over Delson Rowe.
Okay,
Thank you.
hey, each their own. Each their own.
Really? I didn't have a problem with Delson. You didn't like Delson?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you have new thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima after seeing that?
I mean, it was interesting to get because I really had no sense of what the gameplay was going to really feel like or like what the story was going to be. But like, I feel like after that trailer, it's like, okay, that's who the protagonist is. That's who I will connect with. And now I get this, I at least have a little bit more of an understanding of like, okay, you're going to be moving around this world and doing a lot of stealth missions probably, know? So it definitely elevated my excitement, which was already very, very high. And do you see the collector's edition is going to have director's commentary?
Really?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Which I know it makes me want to. It's like I think it's like the $60 or the $70 version, digital version or something. Will have director's commentary.
It's probably worth it. I'll do that. Yeah.
So I'm all the more excited for it for sure.
Oh, and if it's Nate Fox commentary, that guy's so funny. I'm sure it's going to be a laugh a minute.
Does that mean you have to play through the game twice though?
I don't know. I hope you can
question.
unlock it out of the gate. I would listen to that on my first time through. I know it'd be sacrilegious for some people, but
Yeah, Portal does it which is probably the best implementation of it, where they just have the little bubbles that you can like sort of activate.
But even with that, is that just an option in the menu you turn on?
I think you have to elect to play the commentary campaign.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong about that.
Hey, speaking of Valve, Half-Life Black Mesa.
A game that was not made by Valve.
That's right. So it's the remake of Half-Life 1 that Valve officially sanctioned and gave the blessing to an indie team.
Yeah.
I'm confused. It came out a while ago, and I thought it was just missing the end section, right?
I don't know the full details on this, but that game is very long, and I think they just kept releasing big chunks of it. And then the end of the game is the version, like Zen, the end of the game is like way different from the rest of the game, like visually. So I could see why that would be separated, so there'd be a line there for like finishing that.
Did they
portion
revamp
of the game.
the opening again, or is it just the thing that they released years ago is still the opening of Black Mesa, which still looks awesome?
Yeah.
It's a great remake.
So I did this. So I'm streaming it right now, which is funny because we didn't talk about this or plan this, but Serial's streaming Half-Life 2, and I'm streaming Black Mesa. So ahead of Alex, if you want to get caught up on Half-Life, Serial, I got you covered. But I actually. So the day it came out, I streamed it for an hour, and then the next day I realized I had still streamed the early access version because it hadn't fully updated yet.
Oh, sure.
And there is a very distinct line between like that version that you could have bought on the 3rd, I think, and the version that released on the 4th. Like it looks way better, it runs way better, all the UI is different and stuff like that.
Huh.
So I think I don't know exactly how the workflow worked for them, but like they had built most of the game and were probably like cleaning it up while they're working on Zen, and then they just like dumped this huge update out all at once for the 1.0 version.
Nice.
And I'm really enjoying it, by the way, like more than I thought I would. Like it is, the first time I played the original Half-Life was actually the PlayStation 2 version.
Same here.
Okay, yeah. So, which is like a weird way to play it. I didn't have any problems with it. I had a great time with it. But it's like, it's funny that this is kind of my first time playing Half-Life on PC, which is like the way I should have always played it.
That's a pretty good video game.
This is a great video game, but it holds up really well. It's still really interesting. There's still like a lot of cool like Valve style storytelling with just like stuff on walls, and like you come across these little moments where like scientists are getting killed, and you can just kind of figure out what happened just by the way things are arranged, and like it's cool. I'm really digging it.
Do you think that if you were just replaying the original Half-Life, you'd be having 70% as much fun? Is it just like the core game, or is it like this amazing team that put this together that is excelling it beyond that?
I think it's an amazing team that is excelling behind it, because like it looks better and it runs really well, and like it doesn't feel like a 2020 game, but it feels modern, you know what I mean? And I think they're using like some like facial models and stuff from Half-Life 2 maybe.
Oh, really?
Like I think the G-Man is the model from Half-Life 2.
They should have just given him the Half-Life Alyx model at this point. Just
Yeah, well, I mean, but I don't think it would work like that. Okay.
it's talk about amazing timing.
Yeah.
Because when they started this project, they had no idea that this eventually was going to culminate with like, okay, and at peak hype for the new Half-Life game, your beautiful remake will come out.
I mean, was there any planning for that, you think? Or was it just luck? I guess that's a question for them more than anything else.
I mean, I'm sure they're realizing like we need to finish this 1.0 before Half-Life Alyx. And the fact that they have some line of communication with Valve, I wonder if Valve gave him a heads up a while ago of like, hey.
I mean, it's because it's good for Valve too.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
100%.
Like, because it's funny. I was just thinking of games I've always wanted to check out, and I was like, I've never played Blue Shift. I think I'm going to play Blue Shift because it's short and weird. It's the one where you play as like one of the security guards in Black Mesa, and you actually see Gordon Freeman like running around and doing stuff.
Is this the
Gearbox? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like I was going to play it, and I was like, oh wait. Black Mesa's out today. I want to play Black Mesa, and get ready for Half-Life Alyx. So, like, the timing, couldn't have been better. But
What's your Twitch channel? People want to watch it?
Kyle Impersonator.
Great. And once you finish that, then what's yours, Surreal?
A clever cadaver.
Good luck spelling it. That's for Half-Life 2.
It's 3. We're a clever cadaver. Those are words.
It's
like weird spelling.
Surreal, Castlevania, you said you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, the third season is up on Netflix.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I continue to enjoy it. I think it's still probably my favorite video game adaptation of like game to narrative, which I don't know that I would have said. Like the other day, I was thinking about like I had the phrase. I think the Pikachu movie is better than the Sonic movie, but I don't think either is as good as Castlevania, which is a weird thing to say.
You gotta get Dragon Quest in there now too.
Yeah, I mean that's probably about them. But I think they've done a surprisingly good job of keeping me interested in the world of Castlevania, which is weird because at the end, without spoiling anything, the end of the second season kind of points to we're going to be shifting things a little bit because a very climactic thing happens. And so now it feels like this season, I think maybe the biggest criticism I have of it is that it feels a little bit like set up for the next season, where there's a lot of stuff from the beginning right up until the end where you're not really sure where it's going. But I think that series is like strong points, which is some really good, some really great writing, some really strong moments. I think the biggest improvement here is that Trevor and Sifa's relationship, I think, is a lot better. I don't think that in season 2 they really earned those two characters kind of falling in love with each other. It just feels like very sudden, because I think the theme of season 2 was them saying that all the men in this series are a bunch of man babies. Like for whatever reason, like Dracula's really upset about his wife dying, so he's decided I'm going to kill everybody.
Man baby move.
Well, yeah, because his wife died, and he's like every human on Earth must die because of this happening, right? And then Alucard is like this kind of very sheltered child who was basically sleeping for most of his life, and he is just now awake. And he mentions that he aged rapidly, so he's kind of in a little bit of Arrested Development. And Trevor,
I'm a bit of a man baby. You'll have to forgive me.
Well, I mean, they have a conversation that's very similar to that.
Really?
Yeah, and Trevor's kind of like this very immature, like, well, my family was excommunicated by the church, so I don't really feel like helping anybody. And then by the end, he as he's being attacked by demons in his own house, he's like, oh, maybe I'll fight some demons. And then Sifa's like kind of the one pointing it out of like, you're all a bunch of children. And there's a character on Dracula's side who basically does the same thing. And at the end, Trevor kills a bunch of demons. He's like, oh, you've really matured. I'm in love with you now. So I don't feel like they earned that, but now that they're together, I think they do a really good job of establishing them as a couple, and they have a lot of really good moments together. And you never feel like they sideline Sifa as a character. She's like as stronger, or if not stronger than Trevor. But my big issue is that like they kind of split all the storylines. So there's Alucard's storyline, who's taking care of the castle. There's Trevor and Sifa, who are kind of in this new village where a mysterious thing is happening, and then there's Isaac, who is a bad guy who is trying to get back to Brayla to kill a vampire that kind of pissed him off, basically. And then there's also those vampires. So there's these 4 storylines that are kind of happening all at once, and you're not really sure where it's going. But the writing, I think, is still really smart. The action scenes are still like incredibly well directed. I think it's some of the best like animation in those fight scenes. And like by the end of it, you're like, okay, I'm totally on board with where this series is going. I think if your criticism of the second season was that it's a little too slow, I don't think this really alleviates that. But if you kind of I like that this is more about people scheming to kill stuff, and then that that paying off versus like every show we have to have a new monster from Castlevania that like it doesn't feel like it has to do all this fan servicey stuff because this is like maybe not really tied to any one particular plot at this point.
It's not like it's not canonical with any of the games.
So it started out as like Castlevania 3-ish, right? And now it's just kind of spreading out to pull and everything.
Imran Khan on Twitter like was opining that I think it's shifting into the plotline of another game at this point. But there's not quite. So like they don't do a lot of fan service, which I kind of like. I think the most fan servicey thing is that Alucard still has the Chrysogrim, which is like the floating sword.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, that's weirdly exciting. I love that weapon.
I think it's the Chrysogrim. I mean, it's a sword that just kind of floats on its own.
It's
and
like
stuff,
the most
right?
powerful. Oh no, you're thinking of. I think we're talking of two different weapons.
Oh, okay. Well, like he has
he
has a sword that acts independently of him, which I think is a Castlevania thing. Isn't it?
It is. Yeah. You can get that in Symphony of the Night.
Okay. So beyond that, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of like, oh, Castlevania fans will remember this. But I'm excited with. I think that, I
and
think it's really
Alucard is still Dracula backwards.
Yes, they did not change
that?
the spelling. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Man.
That's for the fans.
Yeah.
And it's the same production team, I think, that's going to be making like that He-Man show on Netflix. That Kevin Smith is the showrunner for. So
which is weird. I will say though that this, I mean, one of the things about that series is that it is incredibly violent. This series does not care at all for limbs, and it is more so than any other season incredibly horny.
Cool.
There's a lot of R-rated stuff in this, so I don't think
and that's
kids
why
should go anywhere near it. And it's not even just like, oh, here's like a boob or whatever. They do some very
for the Castlevania
weird,
fans.
there are some really weird and uncomfortable relationships in that thing, and it paints an overall very dour picture of the world it's in, because I think like everyone except for Sifa and Trevor is basically a villain at this point, and it's like a very like they're really struggling with the morality of like, how are we going to kill all these people? So it's in this really weird gray moral zone, but I'm really enjoying it, and I hope they get to do more. So I hope people watch it, because this does feel like set up for the next season, and I'd be kind of bummed if that next season doesn't happen. So
the classic Netflix thing of like, we got our announcement kick, and we'll just kind of slowly kill it after season 3.
The second people aren't watching it anymore, they're just like, nope, whatever, it's done.
Zip. Do they? Hang on, hold on to your butt, Jeff. Do they make any references to the Konami Picross game?
Not overtly that I know of.
Hey, that reminds me, everybody. Murder by Numbers.
What a transition.
Thank you. This is the new Picross murder mystery graphic novel thing.
The new,
Yes.
So I mean, it's basically if you took Phoenix Wright and integrated Picross puzzles into it. That's like almost exactly what this is.
And it sounds like exactly up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, like it's the one thing that like holds it back for me. Like my wife freaking adores this game because she loves Phoenix Wright and she likes Picross puzzles as much as I do.
Murdering.
And honest to God, like she likes murder mysteries. Like she's all about that.
What about numbers?
She's a mathematician. She has a master's degree in mathematics. So like someone made
there
this
are 4
game
circles,
for
and at the
Did
center
your wife make
is
this
Ashley.
game?
Not that I know of, but and it's also like has a very strong like feminist message to it as well. So it's like even more.
Anybody can murder. Is that the idea?
That's right. But it's funny. The one thing that like holds me back from like really getting into it is like I just kind of want to solve puzzles.
I started playing it as like I'd never really gotten into Picross. That's the thing. Is like okay, dialogue is fine. Like the presentation kind of looks like a Dream Daddy, or it's like better than I expected. But at the same time, just give me those puzzles.
Yeah. Which I have PictoQuest in my back pocket if I just want puzzles. But like I really I like it. I think it's like really cool. I really like the idea of like having a sort of visual novel murder mystery game where the puzzles you're solving are like Picross puzzles, because I love Picross puzzles so much. And there's even like, I mean, it's a little thin, but like there is context for like you're playing as a robot, so you're like sort of building these images to scan things. It's like it's enough for me to.
It's an arrow. That means the clue is this way.
Which,
and all that nonsense.
Which I like. Like I'm into that, so I'm enjoying it. I got through the first case. And it definitely like sets it up for like this is a much bigger story than you're thinking it's going to be. So
hold on to your butt.
Do you have to do any critical thinking outside of the puzzles? Like, does the mysteries basically solve itself, or at any point are you in a room and you're like, you have to find these 3 clues, or you're like, what is this is this person lying, or is there any of that stuff?
Because that was a question I had too, which I was asking my wife about, because in Phoenix Wright you get all this evidence, and like the gameplay of Phoenix Wright is like catching people in their lie. This is more on the sort of just the visual novel side of things. Like as long as you're solving puzzles and progressing, like sometimes you have dialogue options, but they don't really like change like the course of the story.
Yeah.
So
Murder by Numbers. Is it just PC right now?
I'm playing on Switch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Which is like, it's perfect for Switch.
So just PC.
Let's see. If I had to murder one of you to make room for somebody else. 1, 2. Number 3.
Clap out! Clap.
Oh my God in heaven. Matt Helgeson,
magic.
ladies and
There we
gentlemen.
go.
Amazing.
Gentlemen. Hey, everybody.
Oh, do you know how good it is to hear your voice?
Well, thank you. It's good to hear your voice, Ben.
I mean, you
even
probably-
though we just saw each other. But
I know. But you probably hear your voice on most days at Argue.
I
but,
do, yeah.
But
Just
for a
cover
lot
your
of,
ears and talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Unless the days I just wander around, solitary, not speaking to any other living thing.
do you guys ever have those days, though, where it's like, oh, it's 3 p.m. and I haven't spoken yet?
That's
You know,
happened to me, yeah.
It's a weird feeling. Even like
it is.
MinnFax, like our weekly podcast stream, when I go up there and it's like, all right, let's get going. And then I realize me being like, hi, everybody. It's like, oh, God, my voice. I haven't opened my mouth for the morning.
Dust just shoots out.
But Matt Helgeson, you hear your voice every day, but a
I
lot of
do.
people
I do.
that have been following Game Informer and following MinnMax have not heard your voice
It's been a while.
years, man.
About 5 years since I gave up the Game Informer show.
That's so wild. Thank you for
Yep.
doing that, by the way. Tim Turry and I really appreciated it. It actually is the reason this whole thing exists, so we
Yeah.
appreciate that move.
Somebody had to do it.
But now you're back with a new podcast.
Yes, we are. So are you.
Yeah, this is a wild one. So this is the first expansion of the MinnMax podcast network, and it's a show called
MinnTrax.
Thanks to the community for coming up with that
Yes.
name, because
It's a good name.
you've always loved games. Like, we've heard
Yeah.
you talk about games your entire life.
Yeah.
It seems like your passion above games has been music. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say that's fair to say.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So this
Well,
is
the only reason I even worked at Game Informer was because of music.
how's that? What's the whole story there?
Because I was in a band with Andy. And then I asked him if I could be an intern. So
Like,
I
what-
met him. I met him through music way before.
And so this was late 90s?
Yeah, or around early 2000. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I was living with a guy named, a couple guys, and then on the other side of the duplex was these guys, Noel and then Ben Ivascu, who's in a band now called Polisa, who you may know of. They're pretty big on indie circuit.
Yeah.
And Ben introduced me to Andy and Stacy, the other guy in this band, and I tried out, and then I was in, and then it was like my last year of college, and I was like, cool. Hey Andy, can I like be an intern? And then I was an intern.
And then you're a Game Informer for 16 years?
Yep. And then some guy named Robert was stealing rare Japanese RPGs. And he got caught right before E3. And they needed somebody to go to E3, so they weren't understaffed. And I was like, yeah. So then I went.
Weird path, man.
Yeah, it's a very weird path. Thanks.
Anyways.
Shout out to Robert. I'm glad you wanted those Panzer Dragoon Saturn games.
In
so
his
badly.
defense, that is a very rare game. That's hard.
It
to
is a
come
very
by.
rare game.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, I
Not
think they
steal
were.
it?
I think they were like finding like the cases, but without the discs or something like
no.
that. And he was like
God.
a super big JRPG fanboy. So anyway, shout out to you, buddy.
Brutal. Anyways, but MinnTrax, this is a podcast that's going to be like...
sorry.
No, I get it.
MinnTrax.
It's not going to be in this feed. It's not going to be in the Patreon exclusive feed. This is a
Yes.
public, free podcast.
Yeah.
We're giving this stuff away for free. And so if you search for it on your podcast app right now, you can find it, like the episode 0, that's kind of explaining what it is. And of course, just to confuse everybody as much as possible, it's MinnTrax.
Yeah, like
MinnTrax.
Max looks good.
Yeah.
I think it looks snappy.
a good name.
It's like Mint Snacks. I think we reached our pun threshold here at MinnMax. Like the community just will not let it stop. They have so many good suggestions, and we've taken
everything
so
like
many at this
AX
point.
ending in AX. Basically.
Yeah, or
Okay.
I originally wanted to call our Q&A MinnMax Mondays, and they're like, no, just call it MinnFax. I'm like, yeah,
Okay,
I can't.
okay,
not
I got
call
it. Can't
it
say
FAQ.
no.
It makes
It's your
so much
fault for
sense.
calling this whole thing MinnMax. You should have come up with a more difficult name to make puns out of.
Yeah, you're right.
Min orange.
There you go.
Or Min Purple.
But the pitch for MinnTrax, Helgeson,
Yeah, so I think it's a cool format. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's basically the idea is to sort of, this first week it's me and Ben, but we'll gonna have a bunch of all the guys from MinnTrax or MinnMax and everybody and outside guests. But somebody picks an album they really like, the other person picks an album they really like, and they each have to sort of listen to each other's album, and then at the end of the week they kind of get together and then just see how they like it. It could be something that you're like really not familiar with, or kind of get people out of their general listening zones or whatever.
Yeah, so this first episode we're recording actually today, which is confusing, but it's going to be
Right.
airing on Friday for everybody
Yeah.
in the MinnTrax audio feed. Please subscribe now. But with that one, you chose for me...
Nelly.
Damn it, don't help me already, dude. Talk about outside of the comfort zone. You go with Nas,
Yes.
Illmatic,
Yes.
which is an album never I mean, maybe I've seen the name around there somewhere.
Yeah.
Never considered listening to, and now I've had to scramble throughout the last week of like, I need to actually talk for a long time about this album, and it's outside of my comfort zone. This is an interesting spot to be in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun exercise, and we're going to obviously try to get feedback and suggestions from the community.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll also do some, we do probably want to have some ties back to games, so maybe we'll do some stuff with, video game music or down the, special edition podcasts, things like that. So we're really excited about it, and it's exciting to be back in the podcast game.
Oh man, it's
as they
fun.
say.
We have so much more to cover, and I'm glad.
Do we have Blue Apron yet or no?
No, not yet.
Okay, sorry.
That's the goal for MinnTrax is to get that sweet blue.
Exactly.
We're working on Squarespace too.
Stamps.com.
Really. Yeah, Stamps.com.
It's so annoying to have to go to the post office all
What's
the time
worse
and
than
get
going to the
stamps.
post
Constantly getting stamps.
I need a mattress.
Yeah, my back is
every
sore.
other
I
week.
get-
Like, oh, what's a guy to do?
Anybody out there?
So is this how we just read the ads and then we get paid afterward? Is that how this works?
I think that's what every other podcast
You're
is doing.
obligated to pay us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But hey, it's funny you bring up E3 and how it was the start of your career.
Yes, it was literally
Crazy news. This week they announced E3 canceled for 2020.
Yep.
Yeah. Because of the coronavirus, which a lot of people were kind of speculating. I mean, I'm a little bit always in the camp of like, I don't think it'll be that bad. I think it'll be all right. And then when GDC went down, it's like, okay, time to reevaluate here. But it's like, well, that's June, and people say it's going to get a little bit better in the warmer months, so maybe it won't be that bad. But no, they're taking the safe route.
Yeah, which I think is partially like Los Angeles is like
I think they declared like a state
stamping
of
down on that
emergency,
stuff, right? Because that's what happened with
Yeah.
South by Southwest. Is like it wasn't them, it was Austin saying like, no, you guys can't do this. you know?
Yeah. E3 is an extraordinarily international event as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
you're getting, especially, Japan. It was been one of the hottest spots, and
Yeah.
obviously there's a ton of attendees from Japan, Asia.
I mean, it's not a bad call. I
No,
mean,
it's
just
not
the
a
way
bad
things
call.
are going, but it's surprising and crazy.
It's just that weird thing of
I mean, literally everyone gets sick after E3
anyway
on a normal
good
year.
point.
I mean,
that's
literally, like everyone's like just fighting the flu after E3. So I mean, if history's an indicator, probably not great.
just stop meeting up. Yeah, but it's that weird thing just when this year E3's been struggling. I mean, the last couple years has been struggling. I mean, ever since you left the industry, it's been struggling, realistically.
Yeah,
You took
I
it with
think
you.
that I killed it. Well, no, I remember. I think it was it 2016? Activision pulled out, I believe. I think I went that year.
Okay.
Or no, maybe that was after. But
Yeah,
there was
it
one
would've been
weird year.
after.
Remember the weird year where they like Activision did its own thing, and then there was a bunch of stuff in like Santa Monica.
Yeah, that
In this
was
weird space in Santa Monica, and like there wasn't at the convention center, and there was like meetings in hotel rooms all over the city.
Yeah.
It's like a really bizarre year. And then it was a failure, so they went back to it. But I
Right.
think that was the first kind of chink in the armor, so to speak. The first time it was kind of like, is this working for us? Because
Yeah.
Activision pulled out that year.
Oh,
That's what it was in
interesting.
response to.
Oh, interesting.
And then-
yeah, but it's been, it was going well for a while when I first started the Game Informer back in 2010 and stuff. It's like, okay, this feels like the big show that I was always hoping it would be, and then I'm still in the camp of, it's just a little soggy. It's still good. Like it's still E3. There's still a lot of fun, but then PlayStation dropping out is huge, and then other folks dropping out, and so it's just an odd spot. I am 8-bit recently. Friend of the show, supporter of the show. They were going to kind of be the creative designers for the whole thing. Then they
Yeah.
dropped out. Jeff Keighley drops out. And so it is that weird thing of like, well, I'm sure coronavirus is number one, but I wonder if it is also just a feeling of like this thing's in such a weird spot right now that maybe we could use a year to not have to try and go out there and act like, hey, it was the strongest show ever.
Was Microsoft going to participate or no?
So they do,
were,
at a separate venues. They're like the Microsoft Theater, which is right across the street
Were they
there.
going to have a booth
Uh,
in West Hall?
No, so they
Yeah.
bring everybody over to their place now. Over the last couple of years, they've been luring people there.
which they've been doing, and EA has also been doing, right? And
Oh, really? So
it's-
there's no EA booth the last few years?
no.
Jesus,
No.
West Hall just like
It's
the
crazy,
ghost town.
man. Yeah, a lot's
Is
changed.
Nintendo still in West Hall?
It's Nintendo and it's huge.
Yep.
Yeah, and then a lot
Wow.
of VR stuff.
Damn.
It's really crazy looking in there.
Is South Hall still busy? I mean, still full or?
It has stuff in it. Yeah,
I mean, there's still like,
got
you know,
other
those
third parties.
Yeah, like that's those smattering of like the Capcom stuff's always really big. But then there's increasingly there was just more and more of like, I don't know, I have no idea what this is. Is this what do you guys make? Like what's even game development
Were
company?
you guys like there when Kentia was still going?
I wasn't.
The
no.
basement?
No, I never.
This sounds like a giant Kentia Hall. So like below South Hall, there's something called Kentia Hall, and that was kind of more like, I don't know. It felt just kind of like homemade. Like it was more just people that had like folding tables and like kind of in the heyday of when there was a lot of like third-party controller manufacturers and stuff like that. It was just kind of low budget,
hanging out down
or
there.
else like some weird PC developers from like Estonia, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's wild to me.
Yeah, it's been on a weird decline. I mean, you've seen this journey, Jeff.
Yeah, and what you're talking about of how it is kind of good timing for them if they were already sweating, but I think that also makes it bad for them in terms of public perception of what is going on with E3, because it feels like for the last couple of years people have been saying, hey, the ESA has to figure out what they're doing and they have to come back and like get everybody to support it again and make this into get everything back on track. And for it to be completely derailed now, who knows what's going to happen next year.
So here's what they say. So they had a statement saying, hey, they started the statement with, after careful consultation with our member companies regarding the health and safety of everyone in their industry, our fans, our employees, our exhibitors, and our longtime E3 partners, we've made the difficult decision to cancel E3 2020 scheduled for June 9th through 11th in LA. They also say they're looking to coordinate an online experience to showcase industry announcement and news in 2020. That's that weird thing where it's like, I know people are like, well, what do you need E3 for? But especially when it comes to, we should still let the ESA handle our online announcements. Like every company can just be like, we're fine. We're streaming it on our own.
Yeah, we're doing it ourselves now.
Do you think that there will be an E3 2021? Or is this going to be the weird test case of everybody saying, hey, we can save a boatload of money and our message still gets out there during the big hot E3 week and this is going to be the end forever?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I think that's highly dependent on how this year goes now.
Yeah.
If everybody's scrambling to put their own stuff out online, and if it does well for everyone, then why come back and pay them when the ESA doesn't know what they're doing with the show at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say right now, I think there will be 2021 show. I think there will be one.
I bet there won't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'm always on the conservative end of the stuff, I could see
I
this
figured
just
you
being,
would be on the. It just I don't know.
I think people are going to learn they just don't need it.
I mean, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
But I don't.
I mean, I think 2014 was the last year I went. I felt like it was on its out legs in 2014, like 6 years ago. I mean, I remember having a conversation with Guy Kroll there, just feeling like, man, this just feels like it's kind of winding down. Sure. I don't know. I mean, I think Nintendo Directs have really
does all the heavy lifting.
You don't need it. And I mean, and I'm going way back to like the heyday of E3 where the outlays of money were insane. I mean, I remember Sony supposedly spent like they rented out the parking lot of Dodger Stadium and bussed everyone out to Dodger Stadium. I think they spent $5 million on a party one time. Oh, God. I mean, one year was they did it on the they used to do it on the Sony Sound Lot. It was freaking Outkast and P-Funk. You know what I'm saying? And free drinks for 5,000 people.
Oh
I saw Kaz Hirai dancing with Outkast on stage. I'm not joking. It was insane, dude. And the old parties were crazy. And it was you go around, there'd be full sushi bar.
Yeah.
Full chicken satay. Get out of here. Come on, man. All over the place.
That's so wild.
I mean, they used to spend a lot. And I mean, I think the booths at the peak were $15-20 million operations.
I mean, they look like it. I mean,
for the big PlayStation booths or the big EA booths when they used to just have those insane big halo of 20-foot screens or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean they're basically building 2-story structures indoors
with meeting rooms and
it's crazy.
Electricity.
Yeah.
And I used to people tell me you get charged by the convention center per outlet. Stuff like that.
Oh, really?
It's super old school, Teamster stuff. You know what I mean? You don't change a light bulb. A Teamster comes change a light bulb for you. It's oh, by the way, that $100. Thank you. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's way more expensive even than you think.
Yeah.
With you have to pay for electricity. You have to pay for blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Gotta get Outcast in there for some reason.
I don't know what else we can do. Yeah. But, they have to change the light bulbs.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I just feel has Nintendo been harmed at all?
No.
By not participating in the E3 press
not
conference?
having the live.
I mean, I know
they
they still stick with the booth, right?
And they have the best booth at E3 last couple years.
I mean, I remember it was always just it was like a horse race when the bell rang. And, people just literally grown men running at a full sprint towards the Nintendo booth, just I gotta see those Paper Mario.
Oh, that was Ben Hansen.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about
Yeah,
that. Yeah, but it's interesting. Like I remember there being
I
a
don't
little bit
know,
of like
man.
an anti-Nintendo Direct attitude of like, what is this? What is this stupid format? And it's like, yeah, no, they were smart and they got ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And usually that is not the Nintendo way, is to beat the industry at something.
I mean, it's consumer friendly. Like, I mean, that gets
Yeah.
the message out to more people, and it's exciting for more people. You know, like it's
Well,
it's
smart.
less uncomfortable.
And just to throw another example, even prior to Nintendo or any of these people, Rockstar has not given a crap about E3 ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ever.
They have like some of the best selling games.
Well, yeah, the
entertainment.
best selling. They
Period,
probably have
yeah.
like 5 of the best selling games console of all time or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, they haven't cared at all. Because I remember one year they got made. Like ESA put the full court press on 2K to like make Rockstar go, and they had Rockstar like tour buses, and they made like a wall around. Like they had their square grid like on the floor. They literally just made a solid wall of tour buses, and there was like a little like 10-foot area with like a velvet rope with like a bouncer, and the only way you could get in is like being on the list. So like they were at the show, but literally no one could see. And then you got game demos like in the tour buses. I saw like the Warriors game there.
Oh wow.
So they were just like F you to like, they was like, well, you're going to make us? Okay, fine. So literally like no showgoer could see unless you were like one of the like probably
Yeah.
150 journalists or whatever on the list. So
Man, I know this is a tangent, but I wanted to ask you for a while now. I don't know if you saw that Dan Houser left Rockstar.
yeah, I did see that.
You've probably interacted with Dan Houser more than 99% of all games press.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, what's your history with interacting with him and interacting with Rockstar in general?
I mean, you know, I was probably, God, I don't know. I might have been the first person outside of Rockstar or their PR agency to see like Grand Theft Auto 3. Because I went to Edinburgh.
It's wild.
And it was when it wasn't Rockstar North, it was DMA Design.
Right.
And like, I mean, it was just a walk up. It was a second floor walk up office in like a brick building in Edinburgh. I mean, it was, you know, it wasn't, you know, they had done like Space Station Silicon Valley or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's just some random stuff. Yeah, I mean, I interviewed Dan. I hung out with Dan a lot of times. And I mean, I don't know. It's weird. You know, him and then Geronimo Barrero like left like last year, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't really think of those two guys are the ones I really think of as being like the most, maybe Leslie Benzies.
But he also left, yeah.
Did he already leave? He
Yep.
left too?
Yep.
Wow. So like, that would, like just knowing Rockstar pretty well, like I would say if I had to think of 3 guys that were most responsible for like the Rockstar games that we know today, Grand Theft Auto, would be definitely those guys. Like Dan was like, you know, Dan was kind of like, Sam Houser is like still there, I think.
Yep. So
But
he's
Sam, I think, is
executive producer,
definitely more
yeah.
of like, how would I put it?
kind of the production end, a little higher, 30,000 foot view type of thing.
More like he's very much a visionary type dude. You know what I mean? Like well, they loved Def Jam records, like a Rick Rubin type guy. You know what I mean? To use a music thing, which they kind of like admired music, and you know, or like Russell Simmons or stuff like that. You know, like I don't think Sam is like writing scripts and like you know working with the team. And so I think he comes in and like kind of checks the vibe once a month and just like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And
yeah.
Dan was the guy that was like writing. I mean, I think he wrote most of those games and Geronimo was like the one that was like a game guy because the Housers really weren't from a game background. Like, I think they were like, either like Dan might have been like techno DJing or something in like the early '90s, late '80s or something like that.
Yeah.
I think they worked for BMG Records. Anyway, but Geronimo was like an old school like game guy from California. Like he worked. I think him and Evan Wells from Naughty Dog were both like Crystal D like testers when they were like 17, 18 years old, stuff like that.
Wow.
So he kind of was the guy that like, you know, got games done. And then Leslie obviously founded DMA and was like the ones that made that possible with the engine they developed and all that stuff. So
I'd imagine you liked GTA 1 and 2. You know, like I love GTA 2, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine seeing GTA 3 before anybody. Did you have that moment of just Jesus Christ? This is a
yeah.
game
Well, I
changer?
was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, like are they like. You see, the only thing you don't know when you see a game demo is like, is this gonna like, are they gonna pull this off? But I remember like, it was fairly, you know, it wasn't completely done by any stretch, but you could definitely have interactions. You could definitely, and just, you know, you forget like even just getting in a car and like driving in this open environment and like getting out of a car and like grabbing another car and like shooting somebody. It was just like, are they gonna really do this? Was
Yeah.
what I was thinking. Is like, if they really do this, it was like, man. I thought it was going to be crazy, you know, but I sort of still like, can they pull this off?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
which they did. But yeah, it was insane because it was, you kind of take, like once something happens, then it's like, you just take it for granted. You know what I mean? Like it's always been this way, right? You know?
Right,
So
right. And especially look at like that output, that generation too, like how many games they were able to crank out at that level of quality. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
And then even that weird stuff towards the end where it's like, okay, Liberty City Stories, I guess we'll go ahead and port that back to the PS2. It's just, I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah, and I mean, but when you think about it, like the old games though, like that's really the template.
Oh yeah,
The design of it is it's like GTA 2 is still kind of, in a lot of ways, the template for all those games. But yeah, that's weird, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
crazy.
imagine without Dan because like that guy was like,
He was in it.
yeah. But I don't think you can keep that up for your whole life. That's the thing. I just don't think you can like. I don't know how you do that to yourself. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like those type of hours and
it seems like he's just retired at this point, right? It's not like he's moving somewhere else or like.
I mean, who knows? Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
remember
all very
like there
mysterious.
used to be a third guy named Terry Donovan, and he was like the business guy, and he kind of left maybe around GTA 4, something like that. But last I heard that somebody told me Terry was like living in Montana, was just like a volunteer fireman, or something like that.
I mean, if you're involved,
those guys got dude, money is
why
like.
at that point?
Yeah.
I think Sam owns like Truman Capote's house in like Manhattan or something like that. I don't know. But, I mean, those guys' money is just.
yeah.
My God, like they made more money like last week than we'll make our life, unless you keep that Patreon up.
Patreon.com/MinnMax 2 wins, everybody. Let's get it
No.
rolling here.
But you know what I'm
Let's make
saying?
this
Like
the
it's
next
just like
GTA 3.
you get to a certain amount of money, it's just not. I could see him maybe he'll like do some like weird little boutique game studio and just do some like
That'd be cool.
you
I'd
know
be into
Steam
that.
stuff or I don't know, but
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Anyways,
Anyway, go.
hey, Microsoft, in terms of E3, this is what Phil Spencer tweeted. He says, hey, E3 is always, he said, hey, E3 has always been an important.
casual
hey,
today.
hey Ben, what up?
Hey,
What's up, guys?
Hey, at Yozetti, get a load of this. E3 has always been an important moment for Team Xbox. Given this decision with E3 this year, we'll celebrate the next generation of gaming with the Xbox community and all who love to play via an Xbox digital event. Details on timing and more in the coming weeks. And then the weird thing is, Jason Schreier over at Kotaku had this note saying, this year, a newcomer planned to enter the field at E3. Warner Brothers Games was preparing to host an E3 press conference for the first time ever. According to 3 people familiar with the publisher's plans, WB Games had planned to talk about a number of much-anticipated games, including a new Batman, the leaked Harry Potter game, and the next game from Rocksteady. It remains to be seen whether Warner Brothers will actually instead hold its own digital event or do something else entirely. Even in television, they were going to have. Oh yeah, I know you've been gone for a while. In television's back, Tommy Tallarico is heading the ship over there.
New Earthworm Jim, I think, right?
Yeah, new Echo the Dolphin.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Let's run it back, man.
So anyways, they were also going to do a press conference. So, like, there's so many companies now. I can't wait to see how this works. Also, without like the ESA managing it, like, are they all going to talk to each other about like scheduling of these things, or are they just going to stick to their original schedule? How does this work?
Do they all have to be on top of each other? I mean, that's the other thing. It's like, is there any requirement that it happens in
May
June
or
9th
June
or whatever?
or- yeah,
like,
May.
Yeah,
can't they all just do it whenever like they want at this point?
I
Like,
guess so. But if they already have like, I don't know, something with stores lined up for, okay, release the
Oh,
banner
sure,
at this
yeah.
time when we
Yeah.
reveal the next Rocksteady game.
But I mean,
so they wanna
retail
stick
is so
to-
much less important. I mean, I think that the timing of E3 generally was like, I mean, going years back. I mean, I think the show was an outgrowth of CES, Consumer Electronics Show. So a long time ago, I imagine was more about retailers and like buyers, like chain like buyers, like meeting with guys to see like, oh, this game looks cool. We're going to bring in like 20,000 copies or whatever. So that's kind of more irrelevant as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but just without, I mean, I think Jason Schreier was tweeting about this too, but just it's weird without GDC and E3, just like a lot of those small meetups, a lot of indie devs making connections, like it's just weird for that just to be lacking this year. I mean, that's going to have, it's an intangible thing, but just like the lack of chance encounters and lining things up, it's like it
yeah, soundtracks on indie games are going to suck for the next year.
could be.
Yeah, but I feel like GDC was more that focused.
Yeah,
than
right,
E3.
right.
That was more.
But
the
still, I mean,
connections
it's
place.
wild. Like I'm still going out there next week, but so many people have canceled their flights. Like I don't know who else is going to be out there from the industry if there's any other.
But the show's not going on.
No,
right?
That's fully
no.
canceled.
But you're just going out for private meetings.
I mean, not even so much. It's like I booked the flight. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can get a
okay.
refund on
Before
that.
it was canceled. Yeah.
Right. And then also it's like I lined up to be a guest on some podcasts and some stuff out there. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll just stick with it and see what that's like out there. But I'm just expecting it to be like 28 days later once I get out to the streets of San Francisco. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Do you see how this whole thing rolled out for the E3 cancellation?
Yeah, I see your notes and I see what you're pointing at.
It
Yeah.
is, okay, so there's a lot.
So Futter was on top of it.
Yeah, Futter
Yeah.
was tweeting about it.
Shout out.
Friend of the show, Mike Futter. There
Yeah.
we go. Former coworker. But so then it seemed like one of the first concrete things was Devolver, of course, the edgy company. Last night they said, "Hey, cancel your E3 flights and hotels, y'all."
That is funny that was like the first kind of like.
Yeah, there's
you
the
know,
y'all. They said, "Hey, come on, y'all, cancel your E3 flights."
Which is like they've always had sort of a conflicted relationship with the ESA and E3 to begin with anyway.
They've been in the
it's-
parking lot out
Yeah,
front.
so it's funny that they're the first ones to be like, hey, that show's canceled.
I can't remember if that were those guys God games or whatever. I feel like Devolver, like what some company, like I think it was some of those Devolver guys had like a Viking funeral for E3 out in Santa Monica one time.
Oh, really?
I think it was at Santa Monica. They had like some coffin with E3 and they set it on fire and like.
Oh, I'm
What?
not familiar
Dude,
with
that
this
Santa
at all.
Monica year was wild, man. Like it was just like a weird.
That's an
they'd
awesome
rented these,
thumbnail for this story.
They'd
if
rented
you
these
know.
like bungalows out like by Santa Monica, and I can't remember what the deal was.
That's hilarious.
I don't know, man. Those are wild. It was
Yeah.
wild back then.
But then the weirder story is Rami Ismail. He tweeted because apparently 4 days ago he said that somebody sent him this tweet saying that E3 was canceled. And yeah, it turns out it was like around March 5th or something. Hot Girls Videos, 18 plus only, the Twitter user, she tweeted, E3 is canceled due to concerns related to the coronavirus. I found out from a guy who pays me for private cam sessions.
Wow.
And then she says E3 2020, E3 canceled, and tag like Polygon Giant Bomb, Waypoint, like trying to get the message out there, and everyone's like, okay, cam girl. Which is like, yeah, no, she had the inside scoop for these cam sessions. It's just wild.
I wonder how that came up in that camp session.
Randy Pitchford strikes again. Wow.
Ah, the flash drive.
The greatest magic trick of all, the cancellation of
that's
E3.
You know, in
funny.
fairness, so you could just see other stuff being canceled, like big public events. Like I think South by Southwest was canceled by them. And just like throw a flyer out and just like, you know.
It's like, wait a second, all her tweets are just different
Yeah.
events that are being canceled. No, but I love that detail of that. It was, you know, if it's all to be believed, which frankly I do, like that.
Sure.
That it was like someone, a client of hers, was like telling her about
Yeah.
this. Like, how did that come
You'll
about?
never believe this. Yeah. Do you have like a concrete memory from your first E3? The first time you actually showed up there? Like, what were they showing
Yeah.
off? What demos did you get?
Oh God, that's the part I don't remember. I more remember just the.
Parties?
No, I just remember I didn't really know what it was going to be like. And I guess when I thought about like a convention, I thought about like a convention here at like the Minneapolis Convention Center. So I thought it was going to be like everyone had like folding tables and like a little backdrop. And
Right.
I just remember like within like 4 hours or 5 hours of like touching the ground, I was back at the hotel, and then this Paul Bergeron, they used to work at Game Informer. We were at like the House of Blues, and like Everclear, that old band was playing, and it was just wild. Like I don't know, it was just wild. I just had no idea. So I more remember being like, I don't know if that was we got yelled at. Reiner got yelled at by a Tecmo dude. I can't remember what it was. Like, oh man, I wish Reiner was here right now. Because I was like, I literally was like my third week. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even have like my own appointments, right? So I remember I kind of shadowed Reiner. And man, I don't know if it was Edagaki. It might have been like the head of like Tecmo. And I don't know, Reiner said something that he took the wrong way and kind of like reprimanded us and stuff. Like, and I think Melanie Pfeiffer was there, and I don't know, it was wild. And like, I was just sort of sitting there like, I feel like we were getting yelled at by like a teacher kind of thing. But it was also like a translator, but you could tell it was like he was
not happy.
Yeah.
It was like your fourth week, I guess. Like
yeah, like my third week, I think. I was there for like 2 weeks, and I was so overwhelmed by the scale. Like I didn't have any idea. Like they meant like 2-story building size, booths and stuff like that. Just because it wasn't as I don't know, like it wasn't like you could kind of get. Later you'd have like, oh, we're doing like a walkthrough video, or you know what I mean. I think like your average person now like totally had a pretty good handle on like what it was like. And,
Right.
The press conferences were like live streamed and stuff, but none of that. I mean, I knew of E3, but it's kind of hard to get it like that real feel for it unless you were there.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest thing I remember was getting yelled at by a Tecmo dude. And I think I remember seeing like, but also like too, that I think that Reiner might and Andy might have sent me out on some like, I remember seeing like Army Men and stuff like that. I think I was maybe not getting the like I definitely remember seeing Army Men games, but I wasn't necessarily seeing I wasn't sitting down with Miyamoto on my third week or anything like that, But,
Although you did that crazy Miyamoto story.
Yeah. Yes. Right after was it Zelda glitched out Wind Waker?
Yes. No, it was Skyward Sword.
Skyward
First
Sword.
demo for Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was mad, man. He was hot. Because the gate wouldn't open. I think it was like a gate that was supposed to be tripped where Link could go through.
Oh, yeah.
But the gate wouldn't open. It was like a glitch.
Yeah, and the motion controls just weren't working on stage. And
Yeah, he was
Miyamoto,
hot.
he said something along the lines of he was trying to make a joke. It's like, everyone turn off your cell phones. It's interfering with the wireless technology.
Yeah. He was mad.
But then you
He
saw
was
him
super
backstage and he was losing it.
Yeah, it was walking. I had to stay back to interview somebody, and then I saw him in the hallway with two underlings, and he was just just
I think they're called
absolutely
Goombas at Nintendo.
reading some. What's that?
I think they're called Goombas.
That's right. Yeah. Well, they were
yeah.
demoted to Goomba status. I think,
Yeah,
after
but he
that.
was mad. I mean, he was he got it. I mean, I got get it. He's
Yeah,
sort
of
of
course.
embarrassed
Yeah, of
on
course.
stage with a
100%.
glitch. But Nintendo of all companies kind of took.
Yeah.
I mean, they take pride in things are say what you will about Nintendo, but their stuff's nailed down.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of what they take pride in.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Anyway,
I feel so bad for friend of the show, Leo Vader. This was going to be his first E3 that he was going to. Now it's canceled. It's
man.
brutal.
That's a bummer.
So I hope it comes back. Hey, in other news, speaking of an outbreak here, Last of Us being turned into an HBO show.
Wild.
Yes.
Kyle does not seem impressed.
No, I think it's awesome. I actually really think it's cool, and it's one of those things where it's they announced that Uncharted movie is supposedly shooting next week, and
Uncharted movie.
I mean,
I'll believe the Uncharted movie when I
mean,
sit down in the theater. That's been
Yes.
rebooted.
It's a double
I'll believe
feature with that and
when
the
the
Metal Gear
credits
movie.
roll. Even in the theater, I'll still be unsure. But but this feels more real.
Is it just because of HBO or because of just TV in general? You feel like TV is a faster pipeline?
I
here?
think video game we were just talking about the Castlevania show, and it's I think HBO tweeting it, and the fact that HBO made a Watchmen sequel that worked really well. It's another thing that you wouldn't think would ever actually happen. And then also the fact that Druckmann is involved and is actively tweeting about it makes me think it's well, I think this thing's actually going to happen and be a real thing. You know?
Yeah, so it's also with Craig Mazin, who's the creator of Chernobyl, which people loved on HBO. And I guess he's a huge Last of Us fan. He says it's his favorite game of all time. And I listened to his podcast, Script Notes, I think it is. And he was talking about something that kind of gave me pause, where he's like, oh, we're really excited to get started, but at the same time, they have to finish Last of Us Part 2 before we even really start locking down what this thing is. So it could be further away than we all think with an announcement like this.
Sure.
And you talk about Neil Druckmann being involved, which is super cool that they brought him in. At the same time, though, he was writing the Last of Us movie years and years ago. Remember, Sam Raimi was going to produce the Last of Us movie, 2015?
that.
They had panels about it and stuff. And Neil Druckmann was involved in writing that one as well. And so it's just he's been working on this project and this adaptation for so long. It's still super exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird, though. I just feel I don't know. I feel I saw the movie Last of Us, and it was the game Last of Us. You know what I mean? I just don't. I mean, it's cool, but
Yeah,
because I think there was a press release maybe that did hint that it was going to be an adaptation of the first game,
right.
And it does beg that question. It's well, didn't I see the best version? Didn't I already experience the best version of this?
Yeah.
But then they could change things. You know, they could make they could certainly make it more interesting or take different directions. You know what I mean?
I mean, if I had to guess, because there was this thing where Druckmann tweeted out a bunch of characters, and then there was these 4 kind of squares. It was a redacted name.
Because he was saying hey, celebrating International Women's Day.
Yeah,
And so it seemed like they were adding more female characters.
So people are thinking it's a 4-letter name, woman, Anna, her mom, from the prequel DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think, so they talk about how she is passed by the time of that, but, we're talking about The Last of Us Part 2, there's a lot of speculation that she's going to be a huge component of that. So especially if, he's just been focused on this Anna character for so long, maybe he does want to, go back and kind of incorporate her, maybe even have, open it kind of on a dual track thing of showing a little bit of Ellie's origin and then also Joel's origin with his daughter or something like that.
I bet it's kind of like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was an adaptation of the book, but there were certainly things that were left out. There was things that were some characters were synthesized into 2 characters. There was, you know what I mean, just different aspects that were added.
Yeah,
so
that makes it worth watching this new version of it just to see how they tackle it.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, we all love how. They say they're not going to make another season of Watchmen. I think they're making another season of Watchmen. I think that headline, if you read the actual quotes, I think the headlines were not exactly reflecting what they were saying.
Is that good? Because I haven't seen
It's
it.
amazing.
My God.
I think we awarded it The greatest
work of art of 2019.
Wow.
You should absolutely watch it.
The
It's
movie
very
was
good.
tough, so that kind of scared
No,
me off.
honestly, what's
I heard.
that
I mean,
shit?
I've heard
Yeah.
nothing but good.
It's
I
awesome.
should watch it.
But anyways, thinking about like how this thing's going to be structured overall, do you think that it's going to be like one season is the first game, or do you think they're going to break it up and be literal about like, hey, there's a season structure to the game to begin with, right? Are they going to go through the seasons and make it like, okay, winter, fall, and then go with that for multiple seasons of the show?
I bet they steal bits from like the DLC that they think is good.
Yeah.
And just like
from Left
leave
Behind
that in
and
as
stuff.
like either flashbacks or whatever you want to do.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think for it to have a nice beginning, middle, and end, I think they just follow the story of the game.
So one season, the game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
That'd
I
be
like
interesting.
the ending of that game is so amazing. I would love to see that be the end of the season.
Yeah.
You know.
And I know that Naughty Dog was, like I remember on that cover story trip, talking to Neil and Bruce from Naughty Dog about like the origins of The Last of Us, and they said, yeah, we just wanted to make No Country for Old Men, but that as a game. Like that was the tone we're going for.
Yeah.
And so now it's so tough not to see if somebody has to play Joel, it's like, I think Josh Brolin could do it. Like he's not quite too old yet. He's maybe getting in that territory, but like if they have to
I saw
really
someone
press for somebody.
share like a picture of Hugh Jackman, like look with like bearded up, like in some film that he was in recently, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks like Joel.
Really?
Like I could see that as Joel.
I don't know if I could take Hugh Jackman seriously as
You
Joel.
can Google it. Hugh Jackman's
Hugh Jackman with beard.
is a fantastic actor.
Yeah. And of course, like when they first announced this back in 2015 with the movie, everyone's like, oh, you got to get Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, get Arya in there as Ellie. But now
That'd be sweet.
she's a little too old for Ellie.
I think she
don't
can
know.
still play that.
Really? Like
Yeah.
how important is like Ellie's youth? You know, could she play a 20-year-old Ellie? Would that still work, or do you need that?
No, I think
Maisie
it'd be
Williams
fine.
is only 22.
Yeah,
and she doesn't look. She
Looks young.
Yeah,
she
she
looks
looks
like a
younger than
kid
that.
still.
Yeah.
There's dudes that play like high school kids are like 35.
yeah, that
all
was
the
like the
time.
90s though. We're
Yeah.
mature. We're trying to be more
Yeah.
reflective. You know, trying to make it more spot on.
I still think she'd be great.
Yeah.
You know, that seems right.
If you had to pick a young actress, though,
A young actress. Oh, the other. Okay, this is cheating, I guess. But like along with the picture of Hugh Jackman that someone shared, someone shared the actress from the movie Booksmart. Have you seen Booksmart?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That's a good movie.
That's a great movie, and she has like that Ellie look, and she looks very young. I think she'd be very good.
huh? That's a good call. Yeah. I was
So
trying to think
thanks,
of, like,
internet. I should have saved that for my get a load of this. See if I can track down that tweet.
Yeah, I was thinking about like who's
yeah,
like.
Booksmart was hilarious. It was awesome.
Let's talk about Booksmart for 20
Yeah.
minutes. It's a great movie.
It was very good.
It was like, feminist super bad.
It was great.
Yeah,
kind of,
exactly.
basically.
I was thinking about like who else is like a young actress out there going young, especially if this thing isn't happening for 4 years. I realize that little girl in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like the little actress. That's like, hey, there we go, up and coming star. Let's get her.
What about that little badass girl from Game of Thrones? The one that like calls them all cowards and stuff. It's like the head of the one house. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did
Ooh,
it.
done.
We casted it.
Done.
Yeah,
There you go.
she's
Good
awesome.
job, man.
Yeah. I can't. I
welcome,
feel
Neil.
bad because I can't remember her name.
No one can. That's all right. Yeah. All right. Done.
We did
Signed,
it.
sealed, delivered. We got
And
it.
Hugh Jackman as Joel.
Hugh Jack. I don't know if we're like, are we all like signing up on Hugh Jackman?
Look,
Doesn't he have like part 2 of that like circus movie or whatever to do?
Oh, is he doing that? Oh boy.
Dude, that movie made bank.
Did it really?
Yeah, no,
Greatest
it was like
Showman?
an
Huge.
incredible hit.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
All right. Sure.
That's kind of weird because I watched that movie. Like, you know when somebody else rents a movie on a plane, but like you're too cheap to rent a movie, but yet you can't stop watching like
100%.
like kind of like out your corner of your eye. Like I watched The Greatest Showman with like no sound, which is like it's a musical. But I mean, I feel like I got the gist of it.
You get it.
Yeah.
You understand why it made so much money.
Yeah.
Sony
Real
news.
entertainment. Real old-fashioned Hollywood entertainment right there.
Real quick. Horizon Zero Dawn's coming to PC.
Confirmed.
It's a crazy world out there, Helgeson. We got Sony games being released on PC now.
Oh, okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense, though.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
I mean, it's already kind of gone its whole cycle on PS4, right? I mean, it's really like just extra dough. Probably.
yeah, for sure. And it's the weird thing where Death Stranding's also coming to PC, which Sony also funded.
Okay.
And that's the same engine, so maybe technically it was easier, but still super exciting. So Herman Hulst,
Are they going to have crossplay between? Is it a?
well, it's not. There's no multiplayer.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no
Although
multiplayer.
Death Stranding might have something.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
There's no like active multiplayer, but there's
Something
like passive
weird and like
multiplayer.
kind of awkward.
You can imagine for a Kojima game.
But Herman Hulst gave an interview to PlayStation, believe it or not, and they asked him about like what it means for future PlayStation releases, if they're all coming to Steam right now. And he says, hey, in my mind, Horizon Zero Dawn was just a great fit in this particular instance. We don't have any plans for day-and-date PC releases as we remain 100% committed to dedicated hardware.
Yeah.
So it seems like everyone's obviously screaming, put Dreams on PC, you morons, and I cannot imagine that they won't get to that.
That one makes sense, but the whole idea of exclusives is to sell your console, and this kind of move makes perfect sense for supporting that, where it's like the game's how many years old? 3 years old now?
Yeah, 2017, yeah.
So you're not selling any more PS4s because of that specifically.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you can get people excited ahead of the PS5 and Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which is
Yeah.
where it's going to be the only place that you can play it, then
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
It's
100%.
almost like I remember when I saw years ago where it was like I was going to like Target and stuff, and there was end caps of Minecraft for like console on disc, and I was just like, who the hell is buying this? At this late date. But then they were on like the MPD like top 5 for like
Always.
ever.
Yep.
So you know what I
Still
mean?
up
Like
there.
this is like that kind of back market where it's just like I'm sure they'll sell it for $25 or something like that, or
I mean, they could
$20.
probably get away with selling it for like 50 on Steam. I think people would
Probably
still buy it.
to begin, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And then obviously people are screaming for Bloodborne. That's the one that would sell.
Yeah.
I argue, Kyle, just as many copies on PC.
And I don't argue that.
That's
Is that
right.
where I landed?
That's it.
Yeah.
Real quick, Helgeson, too, did you have thoughts? So 2K
Yep.
is getting back into the NFL game, into the football game.
People loved that ESPN.
Yeah,
Back in
yeah.
the day.
So here's the quote. This is from The Verge. Blah, 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 blah. They said the big question, of course, is what this means for the juggernaut that is the EA Madden series. From the sounds of it, not much will change. The 2K partnership is specifically for, quote, non-simulation football games, which Verge says might suggest arcade-like games.
NFL Blitz type stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if
That's
they
kind of
would.
cool, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if it'd be like a Battlefront situation where it's like, okay, that transfers to a different publisher, and then 2K will end up making the NFL Blitz spiritual successor, even though I'd imagine Warner Brothers owns some part of Blitz, right? Because of Midway joint.
They do? Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
I would think so, right?
Oh.
It's complicated. It's a mess. But then also still trying to figure out like who would even develop this, because it was visual concepts back in the day, but they're also making NBA, which is great every year, and then also at the same time, well, microtransactions. But then also they're tackling the wrestling games too. So it's like they seem like they got a full plate over there.
Because isn't the Playgrounds, was it NBA Playgrounds?
Yeah,
I was reading Matt Cotto's story on Game
Oh, yeah?
Informer, brought that up, which is I guess that's under the 2K banner too, right? Like, and I don't know who makes
Is it Certain
those-
Affinity?
Oh, it was Saber.
Oh, that's
Interactive.
right. Yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
it's just they just get like a some kind of random third-party studio to make a Blitz.
Yeah, I think
or something.
everybody's fully expecting this to be the next NFL 2K game, and it's like, well, it
Yeah, it's not
might
gonna
be a
be
different
that.
beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still play sports games at all?
I was never that much of a sports game guy.
Yeah.
I like sports, but weirdly, I have no interest in golf, but I like golf games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think golf is just a good video game sport.
Right.
I kind of always like baseball too, and I'm not the most. I don't know. I was never a huge Madden guy,
Yeah,
or,
sure.
or NBA, which I like those sports in real life. But
Yeah. You're happy to be like, all right, God, I'll just keep taking all these games. Yeah.
I like tennis games back when they used to make virtual
Yeah.
tennis.
Oh, man, the best.
That was fun.
Yeah,
tennis
absolutely.
is a good. I feel like tennis and golf, they're good video
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, Jeffem, do you know how this whole thing operates?
on
going on?
Gatorade now.
Hey, only Gatorade.
The third drink.
I've already signed my own deals on the side. I'm just like,
Nice.
No, it's Patreon.
was
Patreon.
that? Sorry,
Just pouring it over
Blocking the logo with
microphone.
your hand. Man.
man. Just my electrolyte was a little low. I'm sorry.
Boost it back up.
Anyways, hey, Patreon. Patreon.com/MinnMax, 2 N's. If you support us at any tier, you get access to the Discord, which is awesome. And actually, we posted a video on the YouTube channel showing off a little bit, because you probably have heard us talk about the Patreon or the Discord and how cool it is, but we actually see a glimpse of what's happening there if you check out that YouTube video. Also, made a couple tweaks with kind of the relaunch here, where $50 supporters, your name now goes in the credits for every single show. Every video show, every podcast. That includes you, Helgeson. MinnTrax.
Nice.
Yes, a $50 supporter. It's going to be in there in the description. Also, the Wall of Heroes. If you're a $100 supporter, your name and picture, whatever picture you want, you can choose it. It goes on the TV behind us. Mark Seliga, you haven't told us which picture you want, so I just Googled Mark Seliga and then put that picture up
nice.
there. Correct us if we're wrong. But anyways, that's also going to be up throughout every video show we do as well. So we're kind of expanding what this means for everybody. So please check us out on patreon.com/MinnMax, 2 N's. Also, Helgeson, I Am 8-Bit is a supporter of ours.
Nice.
Which is really nice. Yeah, so every week they
Gibson
help
still
us.
running that? John Gibson?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
talked to for sure to line this whole thing up. It's awesome. So if you go to their store, they have a lot of awesome stuff for sale. If you're into like collecting vinyls, like every great video game soundtrack they're selling, a lot of other collectibles, cool stuff like that. And if you go to their store and enter the promo code MinnMax, you get 10% off your entire order. Very exciting. Also, they're selling. Have you ever heard of a game called Gimmick, Helgeson?
No.
So they're selling Gimmick the soundtrack and a T-shirt. Apparently, it's an old NES game from Sunsoft that was never
Really?
released in the States.
Well,
and so
there you
I'm
go.
8-Bit's like bringing this up, talking about like, hey, it's the stuff of legend. Like everybody wanted to collect Gimmick, and now they're selling Gimmick merch on the I'm 8-Bit store, which is a cool deep cut.
Wow.
Also, 1980X, they're selling the vinyl soundtrack for that. They say 1980X is a coming-of-age arcade epic, telling its story through an impressive breadth of retro genres, platformer, racer, RPG, shooter, and brawler, all jam-packed into a rather familiar place, suburbia, sometime in the 1980s. The soundtrack is equally robust. Cool. Helgeson, there are 3 albums on the side of the TV that I Am 8-Bit sent our way. And so if you would like to win one of those, you can help out by supporting us on Patreon. If you support us in any tier, you can leave a question for us to read on the MinnMax show. So
Very
Helgeson,
hefty.
choose your favorite album, and then we'll give that out as
Gang
the...
Beasts.
Yeah,
We
Gang Beast
have-
soundtrack's good.
Banner Saga 3. Mm-hmm. Ooh, Gone Home.
You going with Gone Home?
Yeah, I really liked this game.
Great soundtrack from Chris Remo. There we go. So,
Yeah.
this is the I Am 8-Bit question of the week. So we're going to read through all the questions that were sent our way, and then our absolute favorite will get shipped out, the vinyl soundtrack for Gone Home. Helgeson, go ahead and put that on the table there.
Okay.
They don't make us do this, but I think it's nice to have something more to look at than just Jeffem's cup.
That's right.
All right, opening the Min box, as the community calls it, and
Okay.
you're legally required to call it now.
I feel like you're apologizing, like for the pun.
Because it's
Yeah.
just so many puns. I feel like I need to apologize at some level for the puns going on here. Anyways, Leray M. Hare writes in. He says, hey, what's up, MinnMax 2 Ends? Leray, a.k.a. Blue Mayhem from Discord. Hello. It's awesome to know that Matt Helgeson is joining MinnMax 2 Ends.
Thank you.
I listened to the Game Informer show from when it was in single digits, and every episode was like a conversation with a dear friend. So much so that when Matt came back to host the 400th episode, it was like a reunion with someone I hadn't seen in a long time. I wanted to ask Matt a question I never got answered when he was the host. Are there any funny stories from the early days of the Game Informer show from fellow editors? I've always wanted to know what those early days of recording the podcast were like.
Hectic. I mean, honestly, we were launching the website at that time.
Yeah.
Not the current website, but the previous website, or maybe 2 previous. I don't even remember.
I think just the last period.
Yeah, just last-
2009?
Yeah. So anyway, we had a lot going on. It was busy, and I think Andy asked me if I wanted to do it. We had this guy came in and like got all the equipment. We kind of bought from some like local kind of audio company or something like that, and he set it all up and kind of gave me a real like 15-minute like, hey, you'll be fine, kid. It's cool. Yeah. Like, of Pro Tools, and so I had to like just kind of, I think I basically overnight learned how to do Pro Tools, and then we did it, and then it was like I couldn't get it to export, or like I couldn't figure out how to like, it was something like I couldn't get the tracks to have you ever Pro Tools? I feel like it's harder. Like the learning curve on Pro Tools,
Yeah.
is
We used to
way-
use it to record all the stuff.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I think Pro Tools is more for guys that like grew up in like a studio real
Right.
environment or broadcast real environment. You know what I mean? So like, I think I wasn't routing my tracks right. So like, I could only like get one track at a time. You know, so I kept going like export, and then it would just be like, you know, just like Jeff M's mic, and like, and I'm like freaking out, and like the time is clicking down, and finally like I called my friend Neil Weir, who owns a studio called Bluebell Knoll in Dinkytown, and like he was like literally on the phone, and it was getting down. I mean, a few hours before the website was going to launch. Andy was like, "We got to have the podcast,
Yeah.
you know, for launch, because it was going to be like our new foray into like, you know, podcasting." And like my friend Neil was like on the phone on my cell with me, just like walking me literally through, like, okay, press that. Okay, do you see that? Yeah, that. Okay, yeah, and like. Totally. So it almost didn't happen, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know. I always had fun doing it. I mean, the other thing I think that people didn't know is like people were so busy. I honestly been like, after I left, I don't know how you got people hemmed down to like as much time as you did. Because I felt it was constantly just like trying to like, hey man, you got 20 minutes,
Yeah.
man. Be real quick. Be real quick. You know what I mean? So like, it was so scattershot because I felt like everyone was doing all this. You know, other stuff. And
Imagine Andy hosting now. Like, thank God he's Andy, so
Yeah.
people don't have a choice. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I didn't have that
gotta
much
go.
juice. You know what I mean?
Whereas
So
it's, you know, especially with me, where it's like, oh, will you please come down, check out the new podcast, sit down here for 4 hours. Yeah.
I mean, I just think it was so scattershot at the beginning, and like I always felt like it was barely happening. Like every week, I was kind of
I
just.
remember
like,
the uploads would always fail. Then I'd hear you
Yeah.
just screaming from your office
Oh
at
my
7 p.m.
God,
on
yes.
Thursdays.
That website had we don't even talk about the CMS of that old website
Yeah,
being
no,
like
it's
something
a
that we all have
different
probably
thing.
like counseling for in the future. But
I remember one episode we were down to record it, and we used to have the headphones on when we
Yep.
did that show.
Oh, like the headset, and the mic,
and
yeah.
someone was making just mouth noises as you were trying to get the computer working, because
Yeah.
I'm sure everything was falling apart again. And someone was
Yeah.
going, and you were just like, "Stop making noise!" And you got super pissed. And the rest
was
of
it
us
like? Was it like? I think Riker might have been doing it to like troll me. I mean,
That doesn't sound like Riker.
Noble soul.
who could?
It was fun times.
Dan's like he's like the podcasting guru of
Yeah.
what, WWE now.
Yeah, he's the next Vince McMahon.
Damn. He is. I always thought he would be.
Yeah,
But
makes
yeah, I mean,
sense.
it was just like it was real by the seat of our pants, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's probably
yeah.
like my biggest.
Do you remember
memories
like
of it.
what it was modeled on? Were you listening to any video game podcast, or was it just as
No.
simple as like, well, podcasts are a thing. I guess we should make one. Let's go.
I guess that. Well, I had some thoughts because I felt like, we couldn't really do the kind of thing that maybe I don't know if you would call it like the giant bomb kind of formula, which I think a lot of podcasts are, was sort of like a real like freewheeling because I knew it was very unlikely I was going to get the same people for an extended period of time every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I knew it was going to be like somebody's going to be on a trip, somebody's going to be like on this trip, somebody's going to be on a cover trip, or else like, just, and generally like if we had to talk about a game, 9 times out of 10 at most, like 2 people in the office have probably played the game, or 3 if like Ryder and Andy had played it too. So I knew we couldn't do that kind of like, and also I just felt like being Game Informer, we probably weren't gonna, we probably weren't gonna like be totally like gonzo and swear a lot and stuff like that. So I felt like that whole sort of like, hey, it's like this is a crazy crew of like 4 dudes kind of hanging out formula wasn't gonna
Yeah.
work because we wouldn't have continuity. So then I just said like, well, I'm just gonna kind of do it more like public radio, where we'll just have like sort of interviews with people and like bumper music in between, because I didn't feel like the normal podcast thing was going to work given the parameters and like the challenges that we faced, and also like I didn't think we were going to be super like, oh yeah, F this and F that kind of
Save
stuff
that for
either.
Gamer Gorilla. Radio.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it really went off the rails.
Gamer Gorilla, really forgot about that. But so I guess I actually thought more about NPR and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because
that's a smart approach. Yeah.
I knew it was going to be by nature like real tough to get this, people on. So
Yeah, for sure. Caleb Murray says, "Hey, MinnMaxers, with the advent of MinnTrax, I was wondering if any of the computer-loving cohorts." Oh, by the way, I feel like we're new, but there's still inside jokes. So, my hometown newspaper wrote about like the creation of MinnMax.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
What
and-
paper?
Lakes Area Review from New London.
Are you a subscriber?
Minnesota.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was one of those like I think it was a caption under a picture, and they didn't know really what was going on. They weren't very game savvy, and so they're like Ben Hansen and his computer-loving cohorts.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's not inaccurate.
That's
true.
right.
What?
We love
Computer
computers.
right there. Look at that.
Yeah, I do love it, man.
Yeah,
So,
it's-
anyways, there's a lot of CLCs or computer-loving cohorts. That's where that comes from. Anyways,
that's awesome.
so I was wondering if any of the computer-loving cohorts were metalheads, and if so, what have they been listening to recently? I've been listening to a lot of Paul Bear and Rivers of Nihil at work here recently. Have a lovely weekend. Okay. A lot of people want metal to be covered on MinnTrax.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah,
have thoughts
sure.
on this? I don't know who the biggest metalhead is.
Kyle, were you in a metal
I
band?
played a metal band.
All right, well, I'll go
What was
with
it
that.
called? Like,
Autumn Day Strangler.
nice.
Yeah, you can go find that on
Nice.
Bandcamp.
That's metal.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Do you have,
also...
like-
But
Do you have, like,
Between the
studded
Buried and
belts?
Me is my favorite metal band. It's the one that I still consistently listen to every time they release a new album.
Yeah.
Like I don't really listen to metal as much anymore, but Between the Buried and Me, always amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know Bianca...
I do know Paul Bear. They're pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Bianca Reichert reached out to me, Dan's wife, by the way, and said, I would love to be a MinnTrax and cover a metal
Oh,
album
That'd be
of some
awesome.
sort. So maybe we could Skype her and that'd be super fun. Victor Pham says, hey, Computer Living Cohorts, what type of music do you gravitate the most towards, and what album do you think best encapsulates your taste in music? What is your taste in music, Helgeson? Just everything?
It's pretty broad. Yeah. I don't know if I could really.
I mean, I always
Narrow
thought
it
of you as
down.
a hip hop guy. Just
I
'cause
do,
it,
yeah, a
'cause
lot.
It seems like that's
yeah.
what you. Yeah.
But I mean, not necessarily all either, though. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't really. It's hard. That's tough. I hate when people ask me that
Yeah.
question.
I
To be
remember-
honest with you.
So I was a big Donald Glover fan, like
Yes.
just from Community and like YouTube and stuff. And I remember coming to you one day and being like, "Hey, should I care about Childish Gambino? Like, this is like way before before he
Yeah.
became big at all. And I remember you gave me a big rundown of like, all right, well, he's kind of like nerd hip hop. And you gave me this whole rundown of who he was because I only knew him as an actor, comedian, and I was curious about like this other side.
I think I would have liked him better without the name, to be honest with you. Like, but no, you know what? Actually, though, did you ever watch Atlanta?
Yeah, of course.
I think that's like the best show, sort of like about or any type of like movie show about like sort of about hip hop, not totally about hip hop. Certainly a big component of it. And it. Like, I think that show is absolutely like a work of like genius. I think Atlanta is like one of the best written TV shows I've ever seen in my life. So anyway, that turned me around. I mean, I always liked him to a degree, but I was like, damn, like just like because he was sort of like the visionary of that whole show was my impression.
Yeah,
that's an amazing show.
Yeah. Phil S. has a weird one. He says, hey, I'm intrigued by the new MinnTrax show. Thank you. You can subscribe to it. And it got me thinking, is there any equivalent of an album for games? Maybe a collection of games that share a similar theme, concept, progression? My first thought would be like Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, Last Guardian. What do you think of when you think of an album for video games?
God, I feel like he got the best.
Yeah.
I feel like he just had the best example, honestly.
Just bundling that stuff together and then...
I kind of like there's weird, the Metroid genre is so popular now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like just finishing Kunai and playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps right now. I feel like they have all kind of this like weird connective tissue where they're like thematically consistent. You know, I don't know.
So just released as one big bundle. Is that what it
just
is?
the Metroid bundle.
We talk about like an album for games. Is that it? We're just talking about bundles.
That or
guess.
I'm still waiting for Derek Yu to put out the UFO 50.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly it.
Which is 50 different smaller games based on kind of the NES era as
Right.
inspiration, but
Yeah.
all created by different indie developers and
Well,
stuff.
that's cool. I never heard of that.
They've been working on it for years. I used to email him like every 6 months and be like, hey, we really want to check this out when it's done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something I was thinking about that, and maybe this makes no sense, but in my mind I thought, oh no, maybe there's something here. I was thinking about at some point years ago making like an album structure, but it'd be Let's Plays. So it'd be just snippets from different Let's Plays, but it'd be like, 2.5, 3 minutes from each. But wouldn't it be kind of fun just to take from different people recording Let's Plays, different games, but just thematically they would all kind of fit some larger theme or something?
Guess what, man?
Yeah.
This is what Disney Channel does.
What?
They have a collection of Let's Players, and they show like 2 to 3 minute clips of them all playing Celeste or all playing.
And does it feel
Get
like an
Over It.
album?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, because you're saying they're like swearing in it.
Yeah,
and stuff,
they bleep
right?
it out on the Disney Channel. It's so
Really?
weird.
So weird.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's bizarre.
Huh.
So it's a good idea. Disney ripped you off, man.
It's like a Disney.
Is that on
level
Disney
idea.
Plus or just the Disney Channel?
It's Disney Channel. It's like after 7 p.m. it turns into like,
Whoa.
the gamer zone.
Disney Channel after dark. Damn.
The kids are asleep, so let's watch this.
Watch nerds play video games.
Edgar Vasquez, Serial's brother, says, hey, what's something you love but have no skill talking about? I cannot for the life of me talk about either movies or music in an in-depth manner. If you did have something, how did you learn to talk about it? Yeah, I feel music was pretty rough, but then I started hosting that AFI music podcast with Jeff Cork. It's like, okay, that helped a little bit, but I'm so stupid. We recorded, 30 episodes of that podcast or something. And then finally, when trying to describe every AFI song ever written, somebody later on was like, yeah, the word you're looking for is the bridge. Ben, you keep describing like this kind of like roll back into the chorus, and you always talk about like, oh, it's such a cool AFI thing. They're like, no, that's just a very common music term.
They invented that in like, it's like I remember it was like 09 that AFI like invented the bridge. It was good.
Yeah, they used to just stop the song and then just bring the
I
chorus
didn't know what
back
to
up.
do. But I think like politics is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Where it's like I love listening to other people talk about politics, not in real life, but just podcasts and stuff. But it's like I just feel like I can't talk about politics. I feel like such a blowhard. I get on a soapbox about it. Jeff, and we talk about it in Slack, but it's always just like sharing
it's
a link.
fine.
But talking
But you can
about
talk
it.
about it. To me, this question is kind of more you don't understand the terminology and things like that. Whereas you know what to call politicians.
Oh.
And whatnot.
Yeah, fat
Criminals.
cats.
But
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hey, tone it down. Come on, MinnMax, tone it down.
I was going to bring up, like maybe 5 years ago, I decided I was going to start drinking wine and become a wino. And so every
Cool.
every month I would go and get a couple different bottles of wine, and then I was just for my own sake, I was trying to write down, just little reviews of each one of what I liked about each one, so that I knew in the future when I was done with this experiment which ones to go back and continue buying. And it was just a nightmare of not knowing any words. So I'd taste and be like, this is jammy, I guess. Or it's sour. This one's bitter, I guess. And the way that people who drink and appreciate wine in our culture speak about wine, it's
very impressive.
I'll never be able to do this.
If you remember on the first episode of MinnSnacks, which is our food review show with Cyril Vasquez, I asked him to describe how a hamburger tastes, and he paused for a minute and then goes, mushy.
That's
Well, I don't know if I could describe how a hamburger tastes.
It's a tough one, right?
I mean, that was going to be my example. It's just food. Just like describing food.
Yeah, did Edgar write that question just because he's watching his brother do MinnSnacks? And
I think it's because of music. I think it's because of MinnTrax.
Sure.
So Nick Olson says, happy relaunch. Huzzah. Thank you, Nick. He says, hey, really excited to hear the brassy baritone of Matt Helgeson this week. And the question is for him. What have been some of your favorite games since leaving the industry? Have you played much? Do you feel like you really slowed down on that front?
Oh, yeah. I don't know, like, how emo does this one get? I did kind of feel weird, like, when I left Game Informer, like, I almost, like, didn't want to, like, play games. Or, like, I just felt like almost, like, I don't know. I mean, you guys have gone through, too. Like, I mean, working at Game Informer is kind of, like, I don't know, people, like, recognize, what you do for a living and things like that. So I guess it was kind of hard. I felt like I needed to kind of just separate myself from that. I mean, I just getting, like I said, kind of emo or whatever.
It's interesting.
You seem like the most interested in just kind of like, I got to detach from like this constant argument online about games.
Yeah, that was
much.
part of it too. Yeah, I mean, it was getting to be a drag too, man. Just like, oh my God. Like I finally like unfollowed so much video game stuff like on Twitter. It was just like, I couldn't handle it anymore. Cause I just don't really, it's like caring about like, loot crates and stuff. I just like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I just don't care. You know what I mean? To, like, buy them or not, whatever. But yeah, so I guess it was like a long time. And then actually probably the most fun thing that I did was like I got an NES or SNES Classic.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And that was just like fun because it was like, I think it was, I mean, we got it in like late fall. I don't remember when it came out, and then over the winter. And it was just kind of fun because it was like, they weren't online and like, there was like no reason to be playing it to like be like current and some of them I remembered. Some of them it was kind of ones like I never had a chance to play back then or like I'd been curious about, but like I lived in a pretty small town, so like stuff I could choose from was fairly limited.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you weren't spoiled with Joe and Mac.
No, no, but that was really probably like the most fun. It was just kind of just like. And a lot of those games I thought held up really well, and it was I really had a blast with that. I just recently the most recent game I bought was Control, which I've just kind of started. So I'm not really, but that was just sort of like, it was on sale somewhere, and I'd heard so much at sort of the year end in January, like the year end list and stuff.
Yeah, I got Game Informer's Game of the Year.
Yeah, so I'm not. I don't think I'm far enough to like really, hazard a thing. I'm sort of just like. It's a confusing office, spooky office.
There's some crazy music stuff in that game.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
I mean, they've always been good at the atmospherics and things like that of games for sure. Remedy. So yeah, so that's. I mean that. Yeah, it was sort of a long time where I didn't really play much at all, and then But
well, here's a related question from Camden. It says, hey, y'all, how and why do you continue caring about video games when things in the real world are dire? Writing about games every day is my job, and I've been having a really hard time focusing on my work lately, given current events. If it wasn't my job, I'd probably just take a break, but I don't have much of a choice but try to force myself to care. Jeff, you seem like the peak example of trying to strike that balance. Do you find it tough to care about video games at times?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And there are, I think I also go through kind of the same peaks and valleys that Helgeson was talking about of just not wanting to play stuff for certain periods of time as well. But I mean, specifically about this, I guess it's kind of like saying, hey, things are going crazy in the world right now. I shouldn't be sleeping, like you're going to have downtime. You can still play games and enjoy games when you want to. I sympathize with feeling the need to stay current on everything and kind of consume that constant drip feed of video game news, but for other people, you can enjoy it when you want to and check out when you don't.
Yeah. That was really freeing to me. It was like not feeling like I had to play, kind of realizing like you don't have to play anything. You certainly don't have to play something because a bunch of people are like talking about it.
Wait, so what? What is this feeling? I don't understand what this is.
No, Kyle, you do have to play everything. Just stay down in the basement till you finish.
You had 16 years of like, you gotta keep up with this.
It's just that constant feeling like, oh man, I'm behind on this. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I should meet. And then it's sort of the end of the year. I would always do this thing where I like just like check stuff out and like like play it for 2 nights just to kind of like, you know, get the general vibe of it. Like hopefully get it like maybe, you know, 4 or 5 hours in and just kind of like, so when we were talking about the game of the year thing, you just sort of be like able to be like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were the best though. I remember we had a top 10 debate, and the debate was top 10 mechs, and people kept recommending robots, and I was in the camp of robots are different from mechs. Let's respect mechs, keep it a mech pure list. And then after about 20 minutes of intense arguing about what's a mech and what's a robot, you just said, "What's no matter? We're all gonna die someday. Let's move on."
It was just like, there was a few times.
That is life advice that I think back to oftentimes. It's the
That just felt
Helgeson,
like
put things in perspective.
particularly like the most ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. Those year-end meetings were just,
Yeah.
man. They were just
We stream them
dire.
over here, so we try and keep them upbeat.
Yeah, and you should know that when we...
I mean, like the GI one was like, by the end though, it's like everyone hates each other. At least one person is sort of like left work early, aka like stormed out because they're so upset. You know what I mean? Like there was one year I just like, I don't know, Andy was so like getting on my nerves. I just was like, this is dumb. Like this is my life. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah,
Or Kato was like pretty much like there from like minute 1.
Yeah, that was
Kato
his
like
starting
started
line.
at like a 9 and went to like a 12 on annoyance. It was awesome. Oh man.
Yeah, the nice thing about the one that we did at the year end was we were all actually happy with the list at the end.
that was a weird
and there
feeling,
weren't
yeah.
any hurt feelings at the end.
Yeah.
We all felt like we had been
Oh,
listened
Hanson
to.
yelled at
and-
me about that Rick and Morty game a lot.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think that was overrated.
That's true. But 3
right,
out
I
of
wasn't
4,
jerking.
I guess.
You're
You
right.
know.
No, it was good. I liked it.
Holden hints. Holden for Holden.
Holden for
here.
Holden himself.
He says, "Hey, new Max, sure, whatever. Hey, please rank the top 5 hand gestures of all time. Peace sign, Spider-Man web shoot, thumbs up.
Thumbs up
right?
is like number
This?
1, right?
Okay, you need to describe for the audio listeners, Helgeson.
that's
It's
the
devil
horns.
signs.
It's
Yeah,
the horns.
devil horn.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Peace
Yeah,
sign.
You do the okay?
Okay?
I mean, thumbs up has to be number 1.
Isn't okay offensive now? Isn't that like a white power symbol?
I heard that.
Well, it's like on the forehead, I think. There's a
Okay.
whole thing there.
Anyway, yeah, I don't
What
know
about
the details.
people don't do hang loose anymore?
Yeah, no, that's
And that's what's wrong with this
Let's just
society.
break- yeah,
man.
let's-
We need to
middle
fix this.
finger is pretty high up there.
I mean, yeah.
It's no Sufi, more of a.
How about we're number 1?
That's
We're number 1.
yeah.
But what about just like most efficient?
I mean,
like most helpful.
Thumbs up I use all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. To this day. Still doing thumbs up a lot.
Yeah.
Thumbs up can also be like adapted quickly to pointing too.
Yeah.
Like you know,
outta here,
get out of here,
buddy.
get out of here,
Wait,
buddy.
Is thumbs up not pointing to the sun? Is that?
That's right. Yeah. Go to the sun. Adam Moran says, "What's up, M Squad? I'm a lover of games big and small, and don't necessarily need one to be at the cutting edge of graphics to enjoy it. But can we talk about some of that eye candy for a second?" Yes, we can, Adam.
All right.
He says, "Hey, I just played the Final Fantasy VII demo, and at one point, I forced Cloud into a corner just so that pretty mug was up close against the camera. All right."
This is creeping me out.
Says, "I was amazed by both the textures and surprisingly realistic eye movement animations. Didn't have that dead eye look that so many other games have. So whether it's the Alien Planet Horizons of the Dead Space series or the crazy realistic facial and movements of Naughty Dog, what has wowed you visually throughout your video game life?"
Throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be current, but I think it's kind of
Yeah.
fun to look back on those moments. It was like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I mean, we talked about Ori a lot earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
that one just comes to mind because I really was just like, holy cow, this looks incredible. You
Yeah.
know? I
Even
think,
when like we played the first game, it's like you know what that frame of reference is, and then still.
But there's still like one that I always think of as like walking out into the field in Ocarina of Time for the first time, just like with the sun setting and stuff like that was like really stunning. That's
Yeah.
one that comes to mind for me.
I think of like launch PS2, and it was Tekken Tag Tournament. But specifically, it was like the hardwood flooring on one of the arenas in Tekken Tag Tournament, like the lighting bouncing off the hardwood flooring. It was like, pff, that's
This is it.
We're done.
Yep.
There's
Call
that.
it
Not going to
quits.
get any better.
Jeff Cork told the story sometimes that the first time he played Soul Calibur on Dreamcast, he said he thought to himself, video game graphics will not ever get any better than this. Which
Yeah.
I just love.
I can't believe he was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Prescient, man. That was amazing.
Yeah, but you know, I remember saying that like playing like Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
I
honestly,
don't
God,
blame
like,
him. I don't
just,
think
like,
he was wrong. Like I've had that reaction before. Like we've hit
know.
the apex, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
I remember some of that like for just cool art design. I mean, I always thought Naughty Dog has always like every step of the way, like with every generation, really pushed probably the best of like more graphics,
Yeah,
especially
no,
like Last
totally,
of Us
yeah.
and stuff like that. But man, some of that stuff they were doing, Capcom was doing a bunch of stuff like Beautiful Joe, Okami,
Oh,
Killer
yeah,
7. Like they had that weird like little period where they're doing these kind of
Capcom
like
5, yeah.
Yeah, like the Capcom 5, yeah. But like I remember playing through Okami, and that game was gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game.
I remember seeing Okami on G4 on the video game television show and just being like, I was like, I can't believe a video game can look like that. Like it was, I just couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think like this generation, I think the biggest wow moment I had, and this is weird, but it was playing The Order 1886, which isn't a great game, but like visually, I kind of
That's
want to go
nice,
back to it to see
yeah.
how well it holds up, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
What was that game that looked like a kind of a Steamboat Willie era?
Oh,
Like,
Cuphead?
Yeah.
Cuphead.
yeah, Cuphead.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was cool graphic design.
Yeah,
but that's
for
more.
sure.
I guess I don't know what. I don't know.
It's not
I know where you
graphics so much as
split,
just like,
like design
amazing
versus
animation.
like graphics.
And and Jeff, you should check out this game, Red Dead Redemption 2.
It looks really good.
excited.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Did you see, by the way, Beaten Down Brian's
I did. It was very
Wall of
good.
Heroes slide?
Yeah.
Hey, there it is right there.
There
For the
we
audio
go.
listeners, it's
Have you not played that game or something?
He
You
hasn't
refuse?
finished it.
I've played like 30 hours of it, but I just refuse to do the story missions and
the
move
incredible,
Oh, I see,
incredible
I see,
story
I see.
mission. Anyways, Chris Logan writes in and says, Benny and the Computer Loving Jets, hello. I've spent an alarming amount of time thinking about a listener's email from a long, long time ago back on the Game Informer show. The guy who wrote in just admitted to parking at the gas pump with no intention of buying gas whenever he shopped at a convenience store. I believe his question was, does this make me an asshole? And the panel agreed emphatically yes.
Yeah.
Well, here's my follow-up question to the guy's email. Is it rude to park at a gas pump, get gas, then leave the car there while you go inside and shop and use the restroom, stretch your legs?
No.
I personally think I earned the right to the spot by buying gas. However, a friend of mine vehemently disagrees and insists you move your car to their parking spot before you do any shopping.
No.
That's fine because I mean we're gonna grandfather it in years and years ago before there was card like pay at the pump that took your credit card. People would go in and
Everyone
like you had to
yeah.
go in and like pay, right? So
I mean, I guess if it's a super busy day and there's like
Oh.
lines, maybe
That's
you
true,
move it,
You got to
but-
feel it out. But
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're like
Yeah, no,
11:30
you're
at
fine.
night, on a side road, I think
you're
you're
fine.
good to go. Let's see. Muskie Goron says, howdy, MinnMax crew. Quick question for y'all. What is your guilty pleasure movie? I have a couple, but I think the movie that I feel most guilty about loving is Camp Rock, the Disney Channel original film. That movie rips, he says. I think like, there's some movies, like right when I got cable for the first time, which was maybe like 9th grade or something like that,
Yeah.
I just would watch endlessly, and one of them was like the Lindsay Lohan Freaky Friday. I remember watching that like 3
Make good
times in a
choices.
week and being like, this is a fun movie. This is objectively just a fun movie to watch. I'll
Never
defend
seen
that.
I hear it's pretty good.
It's up there with Watchmen.
Pretty much anything with Rob Schneider in it. I still like those dumb movies.
the
I like
Animal
him
and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
He is a funny guy.
Have
It
you
doesn't. I don't care. I know it's stupid. Everyone knows it's stupid. Rob Schneider knows it's stupid. But
in that
They
same
just-
vein,
they just have fun.
I'd never seen it, but recently it was like an Amazon Prime. So have you ever seen the Ladies Man movie with Tim Meadows?
No. Will Ferrell's in that, right? Like that's
It's insane.
Yeah?
It's like you can't. The whole time you're just like, I can't believe this is like a movie that people like made.
What's the plot of Ladies Man?
Well, I don't remember. He has a lot of sex with women, and I think
on,
there's some
man.
like spy stuff going on or something. I can't remember. It's more of a performance driven,
Right.
less of a narrative. There's a character study more than a narrative driven movie.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. Better or worse than Night at the Roxbury?
Probably better. I've never seen Night at. I think I've seen it like years and years ago, but it's been a while.
couple quick one like kids movies.
Yeah.
Storks, I think, is super underrated. I think Storks is really good.
I never saw that.
Yeah. And then last night I watched
Ferdinand
Spy.
was okay. Did you see that?
Which one?
Ferdinand.
Yeah.
John
Ferdinand's
Cena.
okay.
That's all
The
right.
Bull, yeah.
Yeah, and then last night I watched Spies in Disguise, the Will Smith
yeah.
secret agent. Surprisingly funny. Found myself laughing a lot in the first 30 minutes. The whole sequence where he turns into a bird that they showed a little bit of in the trailer,
Yeah.
the full sequence, very funny.
All right.
That movie made me laugh. I really surprised me.
That sounds
Hey,
good.
you know what other underrated kids movie? Huh? Boss Baby. Everyone gave it so much crap.
It's a dumb
I don't
name.
love Boss Baby.
I haven't
It's-
seen it.
It's
seen it
funny.
multiple times.
It's funny.
All right.
And I've watched
all right.
the
Damn,
Netflix
dude.
show.
Why are you
Netflix
watching
show?
so much Boss
That's
Baby?
my
if
kid
you-
loves it. I don't know. There's
What do
like
you think
3
that is?
seasons.
Is it just Baby being goofy and that's funny?
Yeah.
I want to give
No,
a shout
the
out to
baby's super
like,
serious.
There's a
I don't
whole
even feel
universe.
guilty, but like Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Like I'm obsessed. Kind of becoming obsessed with that movie. Like I might have watched it like 5 times this year.
That's the one where he says
This
pain,
year?
where he says pain don't hurt.
Kind of like
Isn't
weird.
it?
I don't know what's going on. It's just something about. It's so weird. It's just like so absurd on so many levels, and then the way it ends, like the final scene is just like so absurd. And the whole pretense that like there's this underground of like bouncers that are like well known and like people try to like, get like, poach the greatest bouncers from like other bars. It's amazing.
I've never seen it.
Raw Party has another etiquette question. Says, "Hey, handsome in the cohorts. Hello. I have a question about etiquette. So I live in the big city of Dallas, and people are always handing over phones or cameras to get pics at places. When I was younger, I would always happily take pictures for people. But getting much older and finding people much more rude, not even asking and just handing the device over, I've been turning them away. Do you have any stories similar where you've gotten fed up and stopped being nice and started getting real? Am I just a rude boy now?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you're being rude. I love taking pictures for other
But they
people.
should ask.
Well, don't. Yeah, obviously that's too much on
Well,
their
like, who
end.
just hands a stranger
that
a
is
device
weird.
with like no word? Just like
walk away.
shove an iPad in somebody's hand. Like they could just like take off.
Dallas style, I think they call it.
guess.
But not,
the D.
you should, as long as they ask at all, like,
I'm the
take a
flip.
picture.
I like doing that so much. If I see people like struggling with a selfie, I will volunteer. I probably do that once every 2 months. I'm
Yeah.
just like, hey, do you want me to take a photo? And they're always appreciative, and I'm always very thoughtful with the lighting. I'm very precise about this.
I do the same thing, but then I take it and I take a selfie of myself.
Yeah,
And then just
smart.
give it back to him.
And then sprint away. Smart. Let's see. Travis Manick says, what are some of your favorite logos in the gaming industry? There is this Patreon I'm a part of that has a pretty cool new one. Oh, thanks, Travis. But I also really like the N64 logo. Any games or consoles have standout logos? Also, Mark Garcia also wrote in with the exact same question.
Oh.
Which is weird.
That N64 one is good. Like I remember
Yeah.
learning to draw it like in school and stuff because I was so obsessed with N64.
Yeah.
And also the original PlayStation logo with the kind of shadow
Yeah,
thing. That's a
Yeah.
good logo.
It is solid, yeah.
I always think of Neversoft when I think of logos, just
Just
because
the
that eyeball
greatest.
is so creepy.
Neversoft and Blizzard are really up there for just the biggest abominations of
Whoa,
logos.
I just had a thought though. Do you think Neversoft were they kind of like was the eyeball spike? Was that sort of like a spoof of Pixar?
I don't
Oh, like,
think so. Hang
like
on,
the
did they
lamp?
have it like jump in the
I don't
beginning? I'm
remember.
trying to remember.
I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, the
I think I'd go back and
Rockstar's got a good logo.
Just good classic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll
Rockstar's
age
good.
so well.
That's a very
you know?
like iconic. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
you never have to change.
back
you
at
know?
Gameform where we wrote a feature about Corey Schmitz, the logo designer. He did like Santa Monica Studio, just a ton of games, Control,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
The Oculus logo, which is
Yeah,
another good
exactly. Yeah, but I asked him about his favorite logo in the industry, and he's like, "Oh, I mean, just the Nintendo logo. Like
I was
you
just gonna
forget
say,
about
like,
it. Just
the outlined with the kind of oblong.
yeah. I guess
curve
internally
thing.
they call it the racetrack logo, but it's like, yeah.
Okay.
There's
That's
a story a
iconic,
while
yeah.
ago. It was
Oh.
the Reggie Fils-Aimé podcast where he's talking about how in the 90s they wanted to make it
They were trying to make
edgy.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
Oh.
knocked him down.
And this like goes to the beginning, but the original Atari logo is great
Yeah.
with the three.
Yeah.
like that's
It is,
as
yeah.
far as like a graphic design. Like that's just a great logo.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I like the Ubisoft one too. Even like the little refinement they made, just like
I
nice,
love
simple.
Ubisoft.
Really, just nice, simple swirl. Really, anti-Ubisoft. All right. Tim Conlon says, "Ahoy, Ben Hansen and the CLCs. I just checked out the new MinnMax merch, and I love the new logo and designs. Thank you, very sweet. Maybe I could ask a question. What's your favorite article of clothing you've ever owned?"
I had like a Dickie jacket in high school that I covered in patches that I really loved, like a lot of bands. And then my brother bought me like the Ghostbusters like shoulder patch that I put
That's
on
nice.
there, which was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and I still have it. I don't wear it anymore, but like it's one I'm pretty good about getting rid of clothes and getting rid of things, especially
Yeah.
lately. But that's one that I've been like, I don't think I want to get rid of it. I wore it like any picture of me in high school. I'm
Yeah.
like wearing that jacket.
So retain your youth. I get it. It's tough. I have a shirt that I got from the Large Hadron Collider when I went there with Ben Reeves. So it's like, all right, I'll hang on to that for a long time. I love that weird thing. And Jeffem loves his Horizon Zero Dawn shirt.
That's right.
Great.
Wear
Justin
that movie a
Swart.
lot.
That is true. Justin Swart writes in and says, "Hey, CLCs. First, I wanted to welcome Matt Helgeson to MinnMax. I started listening to the GI show when he was hosting, so it's good to hear him back behind the mic. Metacritic recently published their annual game publisher rankings based solely on the quality of 2019 releases. Can you guess which publisher had the best 2019?
Nintendo?
You know,
Nintendo's number 3
I was about to say Nintendo just didn't release a lot last year, so I don't
Pretty-
think. Yeah,
pretty quiet.
Activision.
is number 2.
Okay.
Think about few but strong releases. I think we even talked about on the podcast of like, hey, hell of a
Capcom?
streak.
Sony.
Nope.
Not
Those are-
Capcom or Sony.
Capcom's 5. Sony is number 22.
What?
I don't know. Metacritic, who knows? Think about, we were just talking about Game of the Year.
Remedy?
Microsoft?
505 Games?
505 Games, number one publisher for 2019 according to Metacritic.
Yeah, Bloodstained,
Yep.
Control,
Indivisible.
and Indivisible.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think there must have been some other smaller ones too that just apparently scored really well.
And they're doing the PC version.
How did
of
they
Death
do that
Stranding.
though? Like, what if somebody just like released one? Like, what if it was not this year, but like, what if it was like Rockstar and like Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just like
Justin
basically
says
one game that was almost like a 10.
apparently minimum of 5 distinct titles is how they ranked
That
it.
makes
So
sense.
checks
That's
out. Let's see.
505 had a good year. They're climbing.
Yeah. Brandon Freem says, hey, let's say I've got a friend named Johnny Noob, and they're looking to get into video games, but hasn't played anything since before the 360 PS3 era. I would love to hear your recommendations for the best game to play from the following categories. The best. Okay, since before the 360 PS3 era, what is the best music rhythm game?
The best music rhythm game.
I mean, it's like if you have a group, you go Rock Band. Just, I guess at this point,
Yeah.
Rock Band 4.
It's
try
a
and make
little
it some
complicated,
modern.
I guess.
It's complicated. I mean, I think that's the most fun you could have, but I think best playing is Amplitude on PS4.
But if it's like a single player,
Yeah.
throw them a 3DS and some Rhythm Heaven. No?
I mean, I love Rhythm Heaven, but it's so simple that it's not musically satisfying. Well, that's not true.
For like a casual gamer who hasn't
Yeah.
played games in a while,
you were
Rhythm
gonna-
Heaven would be a tough one to
I
handle.
thought you were going to say theater rhythm for a second. I was trying to think of like, where are you going on the 3DS? Metroidvania. The best Metroidvania since that generation.
You know, it's probably not my personal one, but Hollow Knight is one of those games that just everyone loves. Like even people that don't play like a ton of games who happen upon it, like in the same way Dark Souls and like that Bloodborne, I feel like people find it who aren't big gamers. Hollow Knight just really clicks with people. So like I think that's the one I would recommend.
Yeah.
Hollow Knight.
Since PS3,
Yeah.
360? Does Axiom Verge count?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
Axiom Verge account, yeah.
You'd go
I
that?
guess. Yeah.
There it is. Best platformer.
Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze.
Really? Over
think
like
so.
Super Meat Boy?
Yeah, for me, yeah. I like it more than that for that game. But Meat Boy was 360.
Sure. And first person puzzle game, that's just Portal.
That-
2?
I mean, yeah, Portal 2, but
Or The
that
Witness.
that was a 360 game, so maybe The Witness if you want to go more recent. Yeah.
Sure,
The
yeah.
Witness is on iPhone, I think.
Is it really?
I think so, yeah.
Weird. Fabled Ursa says, hey friends, what's your favorite regional fast food joints that are not available locally? I love me some Bojangles, but haven't had the pleasure of partaking in quite a few years. Number one.
I have a strong opinion.
Oh, please.
It's by the way, where do you live, Kyle? You out in
I'm in Cottage Grove,
CG?
which is like southeast
yeah.
of the city.
You're not that
yeah.
far.
Okay. Oh.
West St. Paul. There's a place called El Pollo Campero.
I know where that is. Yeah.
And it's basically like the Kentucky Fried Chicken of like Central America. And for some reason, they have one here
Weird.
in the entire Twin Cities area.
Okay.
And it's kind of
I know exactly where it is because there's like that really
it's on
good
that main
donut
drag,
place next
like
to
where
it.
there's
yeah.
a Sonic and like
and
a bunch
Granny's
of other
Donuts.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. We know we're talking.
That place is like, this is some like West St. Paul, like, inside baseball. Like,
I'll check. I've driven by that a number of times. I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, go to Mauer Chevrolet and then just. No, but it's so good. It's like way better than KFC. It's got spicy kind of like breading on it, and the sides are really good because you can get like black beans or like plantain fries, stuff like that, and like you get like salsa, variety of different salsas.
Yeah.
Really good.
Nice.
Pollo Campero, Campero.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. I'll check it out soon.
This one's tricky, but I'm outraged that Coco Curry doesn't have more of an establishment in the States. It's like Japanese curry. It's awesome. Get a beer, have some great curry. It's kind of like the level of like a Chipotle or something, but like they have, 2 in LA, I think?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, Americans would love this. Like, there's no way that would not be successful if you open up a Coco Curry in Minneapolis. Like, come on, it's right there.
Put one in the Mall of America or something.
Please do. I'll call them up and beg for it.
Me and JV used to commiserate about the lack of Zaxby's chicken.
Oh, that's right.
Here in Minnesota. So
And what's so special about that?
it's just a really good chicken place. Good chicken sandwiches. Good chicken strips.
Okay.
It's like in the southeast mostly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Raising Cane's?
I'm for them. they're good. I like them, but I like Zaxby's more. But it is the same kind of tier of chicken fast food for sure.
Cane's is good.
Yeah. Lewis
It's
Kane.
like Texas toast is a nice little treat.
Yeah.
You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like when
It
you know you're
helps.
gonna get like the fries and the thing, but then a little.
You get a couple extra
Texas
pieces.
toast,
It's like
you know?
it's like 80 cents to throw on a couple extra pieces of Texas toast.
It's great. Lewis Kane says, hey, I would feel extremely weird if I suddenly had to appear in front of thousands of strangers and broadcast my opinions on my work and what I enjoy. Correct. How did each of you adjust to, quote, becoming a personality and being put in front of an audience on the Game Informer show and now for MinnMax? I think it'd be so bizarre if my job started up a YouTube channel or similar and having to transition from completing a job in an office environment to being thrust into the limelight of the hot opinion world of podcasting.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
A little narcissism helps, I think.
Oh, really?
Like enjoying it to a certain degree, but like it does scare me sometimes. Yeah.
How much you love yourself?
No, just like the fact that everything you say can be picked apart and used against you.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we personalities though?
Yeah.
I kind of read that as like you're putting on a show to some degree. And I feel like most of
I
the
don't
time we're
know.
just sharing our opinions.
I think personality
in a
doesn't
different
imply
way.
you're changing your own personality for the sake of the recording. I think it's more people are able to identify you that you don't know by your personality.
No,
Does that make sense?
Like people, in theory, watch and listen to all this because they know us and they want to hear our thoughts that they've come to learn over the course of time.
yeah, please write in and let us know why you watch or listen to this. We really
It's
appreciate
very
it.
foreign to us.
Yeah,
We-
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's ever really been a conscious thing, at least like in Game Informer, like, oh,
I
doing
never
more and
thought
more
about it.
video. I don't think it's a matter of like, there's no big, meeting about like, okay, you play up this angle, then you play up this angle. It's just kind of like,
that. Yeah.
I never thought about it just because I was, like, frankly, like touching on what I said before. I was just so happy to get it done. You know what I mean? Like I just like every week I felt like it was gonna fall apart before Thursday at like 7:00 or whatever. And like,
yeah.
So I was just, like, I never really had time to like consider. I mean, what you guys are doing now is a little bit different. I think with Patreon and stuff like that, it's more like this kind of direct fan support.
Yeah.
But to me, it was kind of like
Right.
honestly, it was just like. I had to get a review done, or I had to get a preview done, or I had to like to get the interview
There's another
section done. It was
assignment
sort of like
on
I had.
your
I was
list.
like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
good. I'm
I
done.
mean, do you ever think about how many thousands of people out there like the sound of your voice, though?
No.
It doesn't console you at night at all?
No, I never thought about it like that. You know what I mean? That would be. I don't think I should go down those roads.
I would say that it was weird doing the video game spelling bee that we did
Oh, yeah.
during the
convention, yeah.
weekend, because that was the first time really that it felt like we were sitting in front of an actual audience who may or may not know who we were or care.
Seemed like 99% of people did not know who we
Yeah.
were and did not
they
care.
had just seen
They had
video game
fun,
trivia.
though.
And
Yes, we eventually had fun. We'll
But
be
that-
releasing the audio for Patreon supporters.
that was
I
the
believe, next
first
week.
time where it was like, oh, people are listening, and they may not like us, and so that felt more personality kind of driven than
You're scanning the crowd looking for somebody that's going to start booing you on stage.
Yeah.
Was that scary for you?
No, I mean it was fine because we knew we kind of had a format locked down for it,
100%.
so it wasn't too much vamping or anything. When you went to the bathroom, that threw a real wrench in it.
Yeah, in the middle of the spelling bee, I was like, hey, I'm going to run to the bathroom. You guys can talk or just, relax or whatever. And then I was recording it, and then when I got home, I went back and listened to the recording, and I didn't know that it was genuinely just you guys like sitting there in silence.
I tried-
with the crowd in front of you.
I tried to talk. I tried to keep it going.
You asked if anyone had any questions, and no one said or did anything.
So I explained the game we were going to play. I did my
man.
best.
All right.
I want some credit here.
All right, no, you did it, man. You did it. I just looked at the waveform and said, "Oh no, what have we wrought?" Anyways, Beefcake Z says, "Hello all. I have a game I've been sitting on for weeks. I don't know if it'll be fun, but here it goes. It's called Same Game, Wrong Name. Below, I've listed popular games with the words changed to a different word with the same meaning. So he's swapped game names with synonyms for every word, right? I mostly use thesaurus.com to change the names. All titles have some amount of words as the original title. You're welcome to use a thesaurus. For example, Dark Souls could have been called Bleak Spirits. That's a hard one. Anyways, okay, let's go with... Oh, man, we can't start with that one. Okay, hang on.
You trying to find an easier one to kick us off with?
Deity of Conflict.
God of War.
Oh,
Oh, geez, you guys are on top of it.
Who won that? Right? All of us.
Culinary Parent.
Cooking Mama.
Wow, way to go. Chimpanzee Flea.
Ape
Ape
Escape.
Escape.
Man, Mausoleum Marauder.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jeff, I'm
nice.
killing it.
It's almost like you're like a professional writer.
Here we
it's
go.
kind of cool.
Skyline, Nothing,
Cities.
Daybreak.
Zero Dawn
Zero
Horizon.
Dawn, yeah.
Horizon.
Yeah, way to
Nice.
go. Beelzebub.
Diablo.
Yes, Jeffem. Creature Junction.
Monster.
Animal Crossing.
Yes. Oh my God, this is confusing. Road Warrior.
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Oh,
way to go.
That's a good one.
That's a good one because you get like sucked into it being a real thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, this is my favorite. Shoveled.
Dig Dug.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeffem!
Dude, yours too good at this.
Holy
Oh my god.
cow.
I like that one.
Did you submit this game? Are you Beefcake? Oh my God, that's
found out my
amazing.
alias.
Can you go pro
That was cool.
with that? Or
I'm not even gonna try. Jeff's just.
Yeah, no, he's unstoppable.
I mean, shoveled. Come on.
Yeah, I saw that and was like, well, this game's going to be impossible. Let's see. Jesse says, hey, computer loving cohorts, the weather has finally begun to turn warm here in British Columbia, and it's given me some serious spring fever. What are your favorite spring/summertime activities? Personally, I love to camp, hike, fish, and bike. Thanks, and congrats on the relaunch. Thank you. Favorite spring/summertime activities?
I have just been itching for months to be able to get out and go on walks again around my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because I am supposed to be exercising all the time, and it's just I may as well, my heart might as well just explode at
What
this
do you mean
point.
you're supposed to be exercising all the time?
Because I have terrible cholesterol, and so I am supposed to actually be exercising, but it's like I guess I can do burpees in my living room, you know,
Can
or
always
I
do
can
that.
get out and take a nice walk around my neighborhood with my wife, and we're finally there. We can do it. Our shoes get a little wet so far, but
Yeah, that's all right. We're past like peak, deep, terrible, slushy puddle season in
Yeah.
Minnesota here, so we're definitely getting there. But yeah, I've been craving the summer more than I think I ever have. And this winter isn't even that bad. Maybe it's
No.
also because I'm working from home, so I don't have to drive through the snow or
Yeah,
anything at all. But
yeah.
still, I am dying to like get out to my lake place and just lay around for a weekend. It seems really awesome.
Yeah, I got into riding a couple miles a day on the bike like last summer.
Oh, yeah?
And I hit a point with when it got too cold. So like I'm excited to get back to that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm biking. I like to bike. I like to bike.
Yeah?
I like to bike to work.
Do you have a? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
used
too
to be
far.
so good about like taking like the grand rounds in the Twin Cities, like a bike path, and I didn't do it once last summer. I feel like I really fell off, so I gotta get on that again. Anyways, and also tennis. I like playing in the summer.
yeah.
You would.
It's very fun. Hugo H2P says, "Hey, am I the only one that thinks it's weird that in video games you need to keep jumping and moving to get out of quicksand? If someone's first contact with quicksand is through a platformer and then they find themselves in a real life pile of quicksand, that poor chap is doomed." Right? It's because
Yeah.
you sink
Good point.
faster.
Yeah, I learned from the Dora the Explorer live action movie that you're supposed to lay on your back and kind of wiggle your way up.
Really?
Yeah.
What year do you think the last person died from quicksand was?
Is quicksand a real thing? I've never really
It
been
is.
totally clear on like. But I
Yeah.
mean, is it like how it is in the movies, or is it sort of like just
I
like
think it's
sand?
like some weird shifty
There's
sand,
actually
right?
there's a good you'd have to go track it down.
I mean,
There's-
like, is it really this bottomless pit that will like consume you
I
and
think
never
it's,
let you?
it's just about suffocation. I think. Like I don't think you just. But there's a good This American Life story from a couple of years ago where it was like someone really dove into this. They were like, when I was a child, I thought there was 100% certainty that someday I would die from quicksand, and it was just about. The whole story was about him figuring out like why that danger just sort of evaporated over time, like why it disappeared from pop culture and stuff like that, which was like an interesting story.
Why? Just better storytellers?
I think so. I mean,
Less TV
ultimately,
writers from the 70s?
just less
Yeah.
cliches. You know,
Right,
like
right.
people just trying to find new ways to inject danger in like adventure stories and stuff like that.
But someone needs to make a platformer now where when you go into the quicksand, you sink when you move, and you have to wait, and you'll float back up.
That's going to be a whole new genre in and of itself. Mason Parker says, "Hey, Mason Parker here. I have a game for you guys. If you ever watched the show Jeopardy, you'll know what it is. But for those that aren't informed, it's called Before and After. It's simple. Your hint is a combination of two things where the answers are a combination of the first half of the hint and the second half of the hint to make one single title. So if the hint gave half of the info about Dungeons & Dragons and the other half was about Dragon's Dogma, the answer would be Dungeons & Dragons Dogma.
okay,
Got it?
yeah,
I think we played
so.
this before at some point.
yeah.
Okay.
The Doug Loves Movies kind of game.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Protect your 6 cities using your own missiles to stop your enemy's missiles while choosing aside between the Brotherhood of Nod and Global Defense Initiative over control of a powerful crystal.
Missile Command and Conquer.
Yeah. Jeff
I
Markiafava,
had the
killing
first
it.
I had Missile Command, but I can't.
Yeah.
Take control of Billy Lee or his twin brother Jimmy, also known as Hammer and Spike, as they fight against the Black Warriors gang,
Okay.
who has teamed up with the villainous Android 21. And
Double Dragon Ball Z Fighters.
There we go. Way to go, Kyle.
Did it.
Join Mario or Luigi and their new rideable friend Yoshi across Dinosaur Island to save Princess Peach while dealing with the war breaking out between the Horde and the Alliance.
Mario World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Your brain was more excited than your tongue was.
Yeah.
Take control of engineer Isaac Clarke as he travels to repair a space station that has gone dark after they found a strange artifact. He arrives to find the station is being attacked by a fleet of very slow-moving spaceships that descend.
Dead Space Invaders.
Yeah,
Oh,
way to go,
nice.
man.
Getting some old
In
school
this
stuff in there.
hardcore 3-on-3 basketball game played off the court, you can gain trick points for fancy shots, or you can fight your opponents like Chun-Li or
NBA
NBA
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter.
Oh man, we were like,
I'm sorry, it's NBA Street Fighter 2.
sorry.
Is Chun-Li not in the first one or something? I don't know. Anyways, play as the prince as he goes on a quest through time using his dagger of time to stop an alien threat that is using time crystals to wreak havoc on multiple time periods.
Prince of Persia: Sands of Time Splitters.
Yeah!
Oh, nice. That was good.
Wait, God, you guys are so much faster than I was expecting with this. All right, convicted criminal Lee Everett is saved from jail by the zombie apocalypse, eventually coming to take care of a young girl named Clementine as they use anything as a weapon and find
The Walking Dead Island.
and find funny outfits while fighting off crazed individuals that control different parts of a zombie
The
infested.
Walking Dead Rising.
Yes. Way to go. Thank you so much, Mason Parker. Killing it. What do you guys like for question of the week? The I Am 8-Bit question of the week. That one's pretty strong.
Yeah,
I think the
games
other
are
game was
good.
also surprisingly strong.
Yeah,
the
I
Thesaurus
selfishly
game.
like the Thesaurus game.
Jeff M's
Thesaurus game.
display of prowess at the other one was
Yeah.
pretty.
You know, I'm good with that one.
Okay.
I like that one.
I like Edgar
Thesaurus game.
Vasquez, the thing that you want to talk about more, but you're bad at talking about. I feel like we're getting into a rut of always choosing the game, which the game
Yeah.
doesn't always win, but we just say
It's
whatever
always-
makes the show better, and it's tough
Yeah.
for that not to be a game,
It's-
Well, I think the game's just more memorable too.
Yeah.
And also, it's not a bad thing to encourage people to send in more games.
I guess
Also,
so.
we've kind of half said it now, and it would be a real dick move if we were like, yeah, no, actually.
I didn't like that one too much. All right, which one was that again? This is, of course, from Beefcakes. Congratulations.
Beefcakes.
You just won the Gone Home soundtrack.
Congrats.
Sounds like exactly what you're looking for with a name like Beefcake, so let's know how it goes there. That's sweet. Okay, now it's something that we call Get a Load of This. Jeff Markiafava, you can kick it off. Helgeson, do you have something here?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, go for it, Jeff.
I'm sorry, this is a terrible example for Helgeson to kick off with. Get a load of this.
Yeah.
Stop hoarding supplies for the coronavirus, please. My wife was telling me, well, first of all, we haven't been able to find toilet paper for like the past 3 weeks.
What are you talking? Where do you shop?
Cosco.
Oh yeah.
And they just
Really?
don't have any
Somebody
toilet paper.
stole toilet paper from my porch yesterday.
That you had ordered or something?
I just have like a normal amount because I get that Amazon pantry
Oh, yeah.
subscription bit, and so it might have been like 12 rolls or something. Yeah, it's gone. I
Yeah.
think somebody took it.
Oh my God.
But my wife was reading me a Facebook post of someone who had said his mom was crazy and she bought 45 bags of 50-pound rice from a store.
Oh my
And then
God.
he went to the store the next day and she had made him promise that he would call if they got more rice. And so he did, and because they had just gotten in another shipment, and he bought another 50 bags for her of 50-pound rice. And
What?
And he
Also, like rice, like 1 cup of rice makes a
yes.
lot
Yeah.
of freaking rice. You know what I mean? Like
an
rice
absurd
probably
amount.
like triples in, for whatever it is, dry,
Yeah,
right?
but
Triple
this
or like
guy,
quadruples.
he really likes
That's like
Damn.
3 seasons of Survivor right there.
And so his perspective from the post was like, haha, my mom is crazy and now I look like I'm one of the crazy people. You are one of the crazy people, and it super sucks because you're single-handedly causing a shortage
Yeah.
when you do that.
Yeah.
These people are insane, and it's also the fault of the of the stores too. Like, you have to put a limit on this stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Because as soon as one person comes in and buys everything, every other person who comes in is now going to think, oh, there's a shortage, and if I
Right.
find it, I have to stockpile stuff, and then I can't get any damn toilet paper. And Helgeson gets his toilet paper stolen.
Yeah.
Right,
So
man.
just be a nice human being and don't do this to people.
Good call.
So
Good
get
call.
a load of that.
Love it. You got one, Helgeson?
Yeah, I see. I didn't know that we had to set it up like get a load of this because
Yeah, it needs to be a whole pitch. It's like
very important.
it's like a debate class.
All right. It's not gonna really work that well. You just said like a fun fact. Okay, whatever. Get a load of this.
Okay. There you go.
These
Counts.
are some of the actors who were once considered for James Bond, the role of James Bond over
love
the
it.
years. Cary Grant,
Okay.
the classics.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd work. Yeah.
This one, Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, that's a
With
bad,
like a accent?
The Bernie
Oh my
supporter?
god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what he's known for.
That's his big thing now.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood.
That's good.
I thought they had to
I
be
mean, I can
British.
see why he was up for it, but also I feel like that wouldn't
Yeah.
work.
It'd be weird.
He doesn't seem suave to me.
No.
I mean, no Bond has not been British, right? No one's been faking an accent or anything.
I mean, they got mad
well, I
when-
guess like
Sean Connery.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Burt Reynolds, again, head
It's
scratcher
American
to
thing.
me.
It's weird.
We, I believe, brought up his son today, James Brolin.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
A lot
can
of
see that
Americans I
one.
didn't
I
really.
can see
Yeah.
that one a
I
little
mean, I
bit.
can see a lot of these.
But then again, you know, like I guess British actors do American accents all the time.
Yeah.
This one's another one. Mel Gibson, who turned it down because he was so flush with kind of his action movie, you know, like Lethal
Lethal
Weapon.
Weapon
or something
Cash.
like that. Yeah,
Which
I
they're
think he was
bringing
probably. I
back
think he
now,
was
I
probably
think,
up for
right?
like when Timothy Dalton would have gotten it.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, the
Okay.
Australian.
This one I
Bond.
like Sam Neill.
Oh man, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
This one I'm surprised didn't happen. Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks
He
like
just seems like
you just put a suit on him anyway.
this is another one that I'm surprised didn't happen. And again, apparently this didn't happen because of another movie, which you'll know, Ewan McGregor. But this would have been with Craig, so he was kind of too.
So did he fell Star Wars? He went Star Wars?
Yeah. Well, he was. I think he was in the middle of that like commitment or whatever.
Yeah, because
so-
you know Craig. I mean, what Casino Royale was 2006 or something. So maybe it was like towards
Yeah.
the end of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or maybe he was just also off like a big blockbuster and didn't like want to
Right.
commit to this
Yeah.
whole big deal.
I don't know. I like Ewan McGregor. I don't think that's right though. I don't think he's
See, I
suave
feel like
enough.
he would have. I don't know.
He's a good actor.
And once again, Hugh Jackman.
Oh, Joel from The Last of Us.
Yeah, the guy from the Greatest Entertainer, the World's Greatest Showman. Yeah,
That weird silent film.
yeah, the silent film. Yeah. It's kind of like when a movie goes retro and does like black and white. This one is went really retro and did silent. But anyway,
That's
kind
a
of-
cool list.
it sounds-
awesome.
yeah,
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
one.
I
Love
got
it.
a
You
load
get
of
it.
that, man.
Yeah. Kyle.
This is a quick one. Get a load of this. This is actually from February 19th. This was just a tweet I pocketed a while ago because I thought it was interesting. It's from Chris Kohler from Kotaku, Kobun Heat. Thanks to its newfound worldwide popularity by appearing in Splatoon 2, the NES Zapper, which never came out in Japan, now sells for a bunch of money on Japanese sites where it's tagged with NZAP and Splatoon.
Oh,
Isn't that wild?
Weird.
So like those things were like you couldn't not find one of those in people's houses here in America, but I guess because of Splatoon,
So they didn't have Duck Hunt in Japan?
I guess not. Or
Weird.
I don't know the full history of it, but I was like, oh, that's bizarre that it's now become this like weird thing.
Oh, you know
that
what though? I suppose like they don't duck hunt in Japan.
They don't shoot
Yeah.
ducks.
Yeah, they probably don't shoot ducks. They probably don't have like guns in that way.
I was thinking with that, like in terms of like the IP that's got to be the top of the list for like highest selling that has never come back. Really.
Yeah.
You know, at Link's crossbow training, there was like, wasn't there a nod to it with something with the?
Oh, I don't remember.
But anyway, just think about that. And it's like,
But
well,
that
it's just-
wasn't even close to like
Yeah.
Duck Hunt. I mean, Duck Hunt was everywhere.
But can you imagine another company having IP like Duck Hunt just being like, we're not going to touch it. But I'm sure it is just like Miyamoto's like a vegetarian. Like, I don't want to go near it, man.
It's the rich. How could they leave behind the rich lore and universe of Duck
I know,
Hunt?
it's like we're trying to squeeze anything for money. Like, that's
Like-
something that everyone has
Yeah.
nostalgia
The
for,
Duck-
and they're not milking
I
it.
feel like Duck Hunt has been back. I feel like I've seen Duck Hunt.
well, because of
on
Smash
some-
Brothers.
I feel like
Yeah.
I saw it
Yeah.
on something else though.
Oh, really?
I swear to God, over the years. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
That is
Okay.
interesting, though.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I saw a tweet this morning from Sid Meier. You know, his flame wars
Spell it.
warring on. I can't. Anyway, so Sid Meier tweeted, "Hey, it was a pleasure working with W.W. Norton on, quote, Sid Meier's memoir. Revisiting memories of the early days of making games really gave me a greater appreciation of how far we've come. The book is available on September 8th, 2020, and up for pre-order now."
That's cool.
But I feel like I've been hearing about this for so long that we need more memoirs. We need more
Yeah.
of the old timers in the video game industry writing books. Like Sid Meier's like a
Absolutely.
perfect example of like, I'm going to read the hell out of that book. That'll be fascinating.
And it's a really great title too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course,
perfect,
it's got it all. Yeah,
He's
But,
like the nicest guy too. I remember interviewing him. He's just like absolutely like the most humble, like just nice guy, man.
yeah.
Absolutely. That's great. No, I mean, I think it's a serious I don't know, a problem, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of
100%.
these guys, are starting to get up to the age where some of them are passing away, and like I just don't think it was ever. I mean, if you went to a library in like like say like a large New York library, like I mean, the movie industry, like that section of the library would just be I mean, Jesus Christ, like
yeah.
it'd just be miles. You know what I mean? Like there's probably like 50 Marilyn Monroe alone biographies.
Yeah,
I bet it wouldn't
100%.
surprise me. You know what I mean? And there's like legitimate game books.
It's tiny. Yeah, I mean,
it's
Frank
under-
Cifaldi from the Video Game History Foundation, he was talking about it.
That's
back when he
under
was at Game
50.
Informer.
I bet it's under,
yeah,
like in
for
terms
sure.
of like, there's like Phoenix by Leonard Herman, and like Steve Kent's book, and some of those kind of like general histories. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, if there's 100, I'd be surprised that we're like
Yeah. Same.
really well done.
And especially like that autobiography style.
Yeah,
like,
none,
man,
hardly
I mean,
any.
Talk about like a life like Mark Cerny. Like, Jesus Christ, that
Yeah.
guy has seen everything from an entire medium's history. Like, get that guy some ghostwriter or something. Like, just crank it out of him. Helgeson, why don't
Yeah,
you write a book,
that
man?
would be great. I'd love to.
Would you really?
Yeah,
Do it.
That'd be fun.
Do it right now.
Cerny's an interesting guy.
Yeah. I was talking about writing
Yeah,
your
yeah,
own,
yeah.
not writing it for
Oh,
Cerny.
no. I thought you meant ghostwriting for somebody.
No,
I would
no,
actually
no.
genuinely love to do that. I'd love to ghostwrite somebody's biography. I think it'd be super fun.
Yeah. Would
Actually.
you ever consider writing your own book about your time in the industry or something?
No. I don't think
read
no.
But don't you think this is a little bit of the problem? Like, we look up to you for your crazy history in the industry, and I feel like
Like just you saying that you saw Grand Theft Auto 3 basically before anyone is like, that's 6 chapters
that's
I would
crazy
read
to
right
us.
there.
Whereas,
Well,
like,
yeah, but I mean, I guess I meant more like people that actually made the game. So, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I want both.
But I think everybody just has that attitude of like, well, my life isn't special enough to write a book about it, But it's like, Jesus Christ, somebody has to have a
What
little bit
about
of an
like
ego
what about
here.
Andy Mack?
100%.
Yeah, you've had
I mean,
that. I've heard
if I've
you
seen
have that
like he's
conversation
seen 10
with
things for every one thing I've seen.
Yeah.
It was crazy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I
maybe
hope he does.
I'll ghostwrite Andy's autobiography.
Pitch it.
Don't
Let's
even
go.
tell him.
Yeah, don't even tell. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
Do you have the community to get a load of
we
this?
got a community. Get a load of this.
So this is a new thing where now every round of Get a Load of This, we're also going to include one from the community. There is a special channel in the Discord, which you get access to if you support us on Patreon. And then it's just a constant stream of interesting little factoids. And so Jeff every week is going to choose his absolute favorite and then read it as the community suggestion.
Yes, this one I picked because Matt Helgeson is here today.
Wow. Okay.
So the user who submitted it was Super Dak, and it is a tweet from someone named Nick Ciarelli, but the tweet says, video game reviewer from 2006, and then a fake quote, okay? This game made me want to hurl my controller across the room like a psycho monkey who got caught spanking the monkey. Video game reviewer today, my divorce taught me that sometimes the journey is the reward, and so did this Steam title. We really have changed a lot.
That's too good.
Yes, but that did remind me of some of the old stories and flipping through old Game Informers and some of the review.
Some of the writing is just unbelievably bad. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
I remember it was a long time ago you were talking about. My friend Grant's obsessed with this because you were talking about how in some old E3 preview you were talking about the Sega skullduggery at E3, and he just loved it.
Oh my
Skullduggery.
God. Yeah, it was some of the old writing. It's
Rough go.
yeah, it's a rough go. It's
Hey.
a rough go.
Hey, Helgeson, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah,
I
it was
appreciate
great.
it.
Thanks for having me, everybody. It was
Yeah.
fun. And tune into MinnTrax.
There
We'll
we
be around,
go.
and I'll probably be around some more now. So it was fun, guys.
Yeah, for sure. First episode of MinnTrax is going to be airing on Friday. And also, it's produced by Jason Daphnis, which you
Yes.
mentioned. So he's
Yes.
going to be sweating the most trying to get those clips ready to play and stuff
Yeah, it's
like
gonna be
that.
tough.
So-
It'll be tough.
Yeah, but please check it out. Sweet. And also, thanks to $50 supporters on Patreon. I am 8-Bit, of course, Seth Walker, BeatenDownBrian, The Smak, Jawarhello, Mark Seliga, Jesse Vitelli, Zachary Pligge, Mirko Arico-Torreno, Rob, Hudak, The Rook, and David Lacolucci. Thank you so much. Those are the Wall of Heroes. I'm sorry, the $50 supporters, so their names in the credits, but we thought we'd give them a shout out as well. So
Yeah,
why
that's
not?
nice.
If you want to hear your name next month, consider supporting us. Even if it's just for 1 month, we'd appreciate it. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Be good, everyone.
Bye.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Bye.